Dreamscape presents Bare Ass in Love by Sasha Burke, narrated by Pippa Jane and Joe Arden.
1. Jason. Monday, time 1:53 a.m. I kick off the sheets and glare at my alarm clock. It's still fucking dark out, and I know that knock. It's the same frenzied little knock she's done every other time she's gotten me up at a ridiculous hour. After a month and a half of this, you'd think I'd be used to dragging my ass out of bed in the middle of the night because my construction manager is losing her shit over some detail of a job. Doesn't keep me from being grouchy as hell over it, though. I jerk open the door to find her standing there. Summer Davis. Yes, she's every damn bit as pretty as her name. Per usual, her hair is in a messy bun with a couple of pencils stuck in it, and per usual for this hour, she's flushed and out of breath from her run up the 4 flights of stairs to get here. With the elevator access to my penthouse floor automatically redirecting the rider back down to the lobby for clearance from the front desk, and Summer somehow managing to convince my night manager to risk early retirement by waking me up over a half dozen times her first 2 weeks after moving in, I decided to just give the woman her own security access code to get onto my floor via the fire escape stairwell. She's now accessed it so many times, my building security doesn't even bother to check with me after she codes in anymore. They assure me that they watch her on their monitors until I let her in, though. Mostly for non-security reasons, I'm sure, meaning they're probably zoomed in on her heaving chest right now. I cut a dark look up at the snow globe surveillance cam bolted to the ceiling near the elevator and almost crack a grin when the electronic eyeball instantly whirs into motion, jerking to a new vantage angle as far away from my front door as possible. Miracle of miracles, at least tonight she's got on something other than those white button-down men's shirts she wears to sleep, and more often than not goes down to the lobby to sign for UPS deliveries in, sans anything underneath but panties. I know for a fact that my security guards used to love calling her down for deliveries as late as they could, hoping like a bunch of pervs that she'd come down without remembering to throw on a pair of shorts first. Firing 2 otherwise reliable security guards for ogling her ass as she struggled with some boxes is probably the reason why none of my workers enjoy getting deliveries for her anymore. So yeah, in comparison, the yoga pants and loose tank top showing most of her sports bra is a marked improvement. Sort of. As long as she doesn't turn sideways and inadvertently flash me that tiny little, distractingly sexy birthmark on her... Hell. Too late. Distractingly sexy. The woman's killing me. Normally, I'm not the kind of man who would even consider blurring the line between tenant and landlord or boss and employee, but Summer is a goddamn walking temptation, and if she were even remotely aware that her nipples were poking through the thin fabric of her bra and saying hi to me right now, I'd be pissed as hell that she was making me rethink my own rules. Summer, I finally managed to grit out in a barely civil growl. It's 2 in the friggin' morning. Can it wait until at least sunrise for a change? She frowns in that cute, confused way she does when she realizes the rest of the city is sleeping like she should be.
Oh, sorry, boss. I guess I can come back in a few hours.
I close the door before she can say the but I hear waiting in the wings, hoping like hell she won't take the sunrise suggestion literally. 2. Jason. Monday, time 4:21 a.m. I head to the front door and pull it open midway through her second round of knocks. She's standing on the doorstep, fresh-faced and bright-eyed, almost impossibly chipper. Chased, of course, with her usual dose of excessive and usually unnecessary worry over whatever is racing through her thoughts right now.
Morning, boss.
She flashes me a hasty but genuine smile and promptly hands me a large paper cup of what smells more like sugary liquefied hazelnut than coffee. Where on earth she went to get fancy coffee to go at this hour, I don't even want to know. I'll check with my security folks later. For now, I take the cup and leave it on the table in the foyer. I'm not ready for coffee. I'm not even dressed. She steps over the threshold, grabbing the abandoned cup to take a quick gulp, like she needs more caffeine, before she says, in a rush, "So, I had some things to run by you." Maybe it's because she pulls out an unbelievably overstuffed folder, one of many in her bag, and maybe it's because she did take me literally on the sunrise thing, but I feel perfectly justified in reaching out to put a hand over her mouth to stop her from overloading me with information before my brain has had a chance to wake up. Her eyes widen the instant my skin touches hers. Great. At the sound of her breath, catching softly in surprise, every muscle in my body is tensed up and ready to go. Now, all I can think about is drawing that same gasp from her again, preferably along with my name, as I plunge hard and deep into her wet little... The way her eyes shoot down south grabs my attention, and I notice she's looking at the front of the sweatpants I'd had to start wearing to bed after the crazy little insomniac began these invasions of my private sanctuary. Sure, I'd normally have concealed my morning wood better, but I'm in my own goddamn home, and I'm not some kid who needs to hide the fact that my cock is rock hard from thinking about a beautiful woman. I am curious about her reaction, though. She's staring at my hard-on as if I'm some kind of alien who just showed her a third eyeball, as if she's noticing for the first time ever that I'm a man and she's a woman, as if she's never had a man react to her this way before. Bad idea, dude. Just walk away. Now. I need breakfast, I say, turning and heading into the kitchen. She can follow or not. She follows. And thank fuck, she seems to be back to her usual, oblivious to everything but work default, because I hear her rattling off what sounds like a long-ass checklist of things on her mind as I take out eggs and a few other things from the fridge. From some issues she foresees coming, to the design details she'd wanted to talk to me about earlier, to some interior construction constraints she's figuring out, it's all standard stuff. And I tune in with one ear as I make some food. "Are you hungry?" I ask when she finally pauses to take another breath. "No thanks, I already ate," she says before launching back into an in-depth analysis of our progress on the project. As always, her attention to detail is impeccable. If only she had nearly as much insight to how much I'd like her to leave right now. It would be nice to just enjoy my once quiet morning rituals again. But I get it. This is a big project I hand-picked to have her run point on. I know it'll take time for us to get into a groove that doesn't drive me up the wall. The important thing is that she's damn talented, even if her process is damn unorthodox. I finish making my skillet scramble and sit at the counter to eat while she begins easing into what sounds like the start of a marathon explanation about how the guy we'd been considering for an open position on her project isn't the best decision and how she knows a guy who'd be much better suited. "He's hired," I interrupt her, and she pauses, her mouth hanging slightly open as she stares at me. I calmly take another bite of eggs, studying her as intently as she's watching me. Does she not realize I trust her opinions on this sort of thing? If she says her guy is better, he's fucking hired. I wouldn't have her on the job if I thought she was in any way incompetent. "Oh," she says, her eyes wide. "Okay. Thank you." She still seems surprised at my response. Has no one ever taken her seriously? So far, she's been running a tight ship, and even when snags come up, like they always do with any project, she's been ironing them all out before I have to get involved. I walk over to put my plate in the sink, and she watches me, utterly silent for a refreshing change. The fact that I actually miss hearing her voice, however, makes me think I'm still way too fucking tired to be functional at the moment. "I'm going to shower," I inform her then, leaving it to her to see herself out as I walk back toward the master bedroom. A half a minute later, I'm standing in the shower, under a pulsing spray of hot water when I hear her start talking again. Okay, I guess she's staying. And now I'm butt-ass naked and she's in the doorway of my bathroom, talking about the team and how they'll love the new hire. Great. Fine. Whatever. The glass shower door is frosted. The woman's not going to keep me from my shower. She keeps talking and I start soaping down, avoiding soaping too far down, just like I avoid the unexpected desire I suddenly have to yank her into the shower with me. Because that would be bad. In a so fucking good it's bad sort of way.
3. Summer. Monday. Time, 5:05 a.m. Jason's in the shower and I'm rifling through my notes to make sure I get through everything I need to talk to him about before we both get slammed like we always do once we get to the job site. Seems like these impromptu early morning hours in his penthouse are the only times I can grab a few minutes to hammer out these details with him. So much so, it's become our thing. Over the past month and a half, we've had countless productive meetings just like this. Well, maybe not just like this. His deciding to shower during one of our meetings is new. But then again, I can't blame him. He's a billionaire. His time is money. Literally. I read an online article once about how much billionaires make every day. For the new school blue-collar billionaires like Jason, it calculated out to about $5,000 per minute. So I totally get it. At $5,000 a minute, it's just good sense for the man to multitask. Like the other night, when I'd managed to catch him before he was heading to bed after a ridiculously long day for us both, he'd simply turned around and started stripping out of his clothes while I talked, signed the form I needed him to with one hand, while pulling back the covers with the other, and muttered for me to turn off the living room lights on my way out about a second before his head hit the pillow. It's nice that he's so casual and blunt with me. When I'd first discovered that I would be working directly under the new young CEO of Steel Developments International, Jason freaking Steel himself, I had been worried that I'd have to be perfectly coiffed at all times with makeup, heels, pantyhose, the whole 9 yards. And I tried that. At first, but then I'd had my first freak-out over a missed deadline. To be fair, the error wasn't my fault. Jason had hired me to take over the job after he'd fired the previous project manager, a decision that was absolutely warranted from everything I've seen. Heck, the guy's lucky Jason hadn't pressed charges. Gross negligence aside, an asshole jeopardizing SDI's first premier retirement community project, especially one that Jason is personally bankrolling in honor of his late father, deserves to be in jail if you ask me. After discovering just how royally my predecessor had screwed us my third day on the job, I'd bribed the building manager with everything short of my first unborn child to get him to let me up onto the penthouse level to talk to Jason that night. I don't remember exactly what I'd been wearing when Jason finally opened the door, but I do remember that he didn't even bat an eye over my appearance. He just let me in and calm me down before proceeding to spend the next 2 hours neck-deep in paperwork and plans with me, showing me firsthand exactly why his development group had the reputation it did for excellence. Then, when I ended up falling asleep on his couch after my brain finally calmed down enough to ease off the adrenaline pedal for once, I woke up the next morning to find he'd carried me over to one of his guest beds and tucked me in sometime in the night. After that, we sort of just settled into this nice little groove we're in now, where we're both completely comfortable with the other. Surprising, really. I'd always heard that Jason Steele was as hard and intimidating as they come. Lord knows even the biggest bruisers on my crew are a little afraid of him. But honestly, I've never seen it. Aside from being intense and gruff and definitely a touch grouchy when I catch him at the wrong time, he's kind of sweet. I mean, really, how many other billionaires would include a rent-free loft in his luxury building as a relocation perk for the entire year or so length of a construction project? A project to help retired folks enjoy their golden years, no less. Seriously, the man's practically a saint. especially when it comes to putting up with me every time Summer! Yes? I call out into the steam-filled bathroom. Thought you left. It was quiet out there for a minute. Sorry, I cringe. Just looking through my files for something. Way to go, wasting the man's time. A whole minute. Crap, that's $5,000 right there. Meaning the dead air just now cost him more than my entire net paycheck this month. Get it together, Summer. I quickly scan my notes for the items with asterisks and double underlines in neon highlighter. Oh, that's right. I take a deep, fortifying breath and then, bravely, begin my spiel. I also needed to ask you about the abandoned marshland behind our lot, I say, trying to quell the panic in my chest over the idea of someone else scooping up the old paintball grounds before I can convince Jason to see my vision. I know it's in bad shape, and it might have some easement concerns, not to mention the issue of there being no water, electricity, or sewage, but I really think we could do something great with all the extra square footage. I ramble on for a bit about my ideas for the land. I can't help it. The untouched acreage really is perfect. It'll mean more money than Jason had budgeted, yes, but it'll also allow us to expand the amenities in ways that would make it more sustainable in the long run. The sounds of him moving around in the shower is my only indication that he's still alive and listening to me in there. At least he's not scoffing at my proposal. Yet. I hear the shower shut off, and I take that as my white checkered flag to continue jabbering away. I drafted up a cost analysis summary for building a full healthcare facility that on-site physicians and therapy specialists could also see other patients in via a private concierge medical co-op, which is all the rage right now, along with an adjoining senior activity center. Both facilities would be open to residents and select non-residents, which would offset maintenance costs in a huge way down the line. Since he hasn't given me an outright no yet, I keep going. I was also thinking of creating different agricultural spaces with one section for residential gardening, of course, but also one section for a botanical research garden open to the public and one section for a produce garden, specifically for an on-site chef to maintain a farm-to-table public restaurant that would similarly double as a property amenity. I know how invested you are in nonprofit organizations, and there are a number of other private and grant-funded possibilities that we'd also be able to create partnerships with, some for outreach and some for, I'm sold, he says, now sounding genuinely intrigued and only a few feet away. I'll call the city to get more info about the land today. I instantly feel that same jolt of shocked elation I'd felt earlier when he said he'd hire my pick for the position opening we have. But it's also more. I'm practically giddy now, thinking about a bunch of cute little retirees tending to their gardens, eating healthy, having access to the kind of round-the-clock medical attention they need, and getting to play with kids in a cool playground built with both children and elderly in mind. I spin around, half ready to launch a great big hug at my saint of a boss, only to find my feet nailed to the floor, somewhere next to my jaw. It's no secret that Jason is usually the most handsome man in the room. Any room, whether he's in a suit or covered with job site dust from head to toe, but Jason, dripping wet and naked? I have no words. All I see before me are miles of tanned, ripped muscles and an almost dauntingly impressive erection. No, really, it's huge. And just like that, I can't stop my brain from firing off an onslaught of questions. How does he walk around with that thing and not feel like he has an extra sledgehammer weighing down his tool belt? Would my fingers even meet around it? Do his? Was it that hard this morning when I first saw him at the door? As I continue to stare, it begins to harden and lengthen even more, to the point where I'm not just riveted but also frankly curious from a general contractor's standpoint, sort of like that time I once had to figure out how to get a grand piano into a tiny-ass little window on the 30th floor of a commercial high-rise. Putting the question of seemingly impossible male-female anatomical fit on the back burner for the time being, I shift my silent inquisition to the matter of why he's got a hard-on again. That's the second time today. Is morning wood an ongoing thing? Has he been like this every morning without me noticing? And is it some sort of mysterious biological response for my nipples to be tightening this much now that I am noticing? I feel my cheeks pinking, but I can't seem to pull my gaze away. A hum of warm pleasure begins in my core, and I feel my whole body waking up as if I've never really been awake before this moment. It's unsettling, but not in a bad way. Definitely not in a bad way. Seriously, I need to stop looking at it. He's my boss and my landlord. I need to look away. Any time now. Every second that ticks by is another second too long. Another second I'm gaping at him like I've never seen a human penis before, which is ridiculous for a woman my age. Of course I've seen one. Well, I've seen porn. And also that one guy in person who hadn't been nearly as hung as Jason, or whatever the term is for a giant cock now standing upright and all but saluting me. The unexpected penis sighting that other time had been an accident too. The real-life penis guy, not the porn. I watched the porn on purpose to see what I was missing. Clearly, though, my porn research had been a wholly inadequate means of measurement because, wow, my heart starts to thunder then, and my brain begins cataloging every millisecond of time passing by. The longer he lets me stand here and look my fill, the more I find myself wondering other things. Things so far past improper, I can't even think of the right adjective. Erotic images, beyond anything I'd ever imagined before, start swamping my senses, and my brain is suddenly under siege with more illicit questions. Would it feel hot to the touch against my lips? My tongue? How would he react if I reached for him right now? Would he be all cool and collected, like he usually is? Or could I actually break him of his renowned control? Do I want him out of control? I feel my panties growing damp as the answer to that last question heats me from the inside out, rushing my veins like a drug. Soon, his abs are tensing, and his forearms are flexing in a way that tells me he's guessing what kinds of inappropriate questions are running through my head. And, as if in approval of all these dirty thoughts that I can't seem to rein in, his thick cock pulses. Just once. Causing a sound I've never made before to slip past my lips and splinter the steam-filled silence in the room.
4. Jason. Monday. Time? Who the hell knows? She fucking moaned. After spending a good minute staring at me like I'm some sort of god with blinding rays of sunlight shooting out of my dick, or like I'm an altar and she's ready to get on her knees and pray. Oh hell, that last visual now has me so hard it's taking everything in me to keep pre-cum from leaking out of me. Clenching my teeth, I squeeze my fists tighter to keep from touching her. She should have left. There's just no coming back from this. I mean, I've never cared much about women visually measuring my package before. Figured they're probably entitled, what with most men thinking about the shape and size of their tits and ass probably more than the color of their eyes or anything less offensive. But it's different when it's Summer doing the staring. It's kind of cute in an innocently candid way, but it's definitely not okay. How the hell do I tell her to stop staring at my dick? It doesn't feel like the kind of thing I should have to tell another adult human being. For a woman nearing 30, she's oddly unaware of propriety and how she shouldn't be alone in my house with me while I'm hard and naked. I'm not a prude, but isn't there some part of her whispering that this is dangerous? She doesn't know me that well. Shouldn't she be on guard against the possibility of my taking advantage of her? Not that I would. I just assumed women came stock with that warning bell ringing any time it could be an issue. It dawns on me then that I'm worried about her. She's sweet, naive, and she's still staring. That's when something in me snaps. Shit, Summer, turn the fuck around. I hear the heat buried under the anger in my words, the unearthed fire and brimstone warning her to mind her manners, or I won't be responsible for what happens next. For a second there, it looks like she's just plain not going to heed my barking command, and for a second there, I actually want her to take my last bit of control. But she doesn't. Jesus Christ. As soon as she takes her eyes off my dick and spins around, I finally feel the red haze that had been fucking with my senses for the last few minutes start to dull and fade away. Enough for me to talk like a human again. Go on to the job site, Summer. I'll be there in an hour or so. I see her nod and start to leave without questioning why it's going to take me that long to get there. Hallelujah. But before she goes, she quickly reaches for the towel hanging on the back of the door and blindly shoves it at me. Sorry, I made you drip all over the floor. And then she bolts. Damn it all to hell, she's just so fucking cute. I toss the towel on the counter and head back into the shower, her ironic choice of words in parting, not lost on me.
5. Summer. Monday. Time 5:52 a.m. All the way to the job site. I feel like I should be hitting the ground running with follow-up plans now that Jason agreed to consider the marshlands behind the lot. But I'm not. Instead, all I can think about is how unbelievably sexy the man is. How in the world has it never affected me before today? A vividly clear snapshot of him standing in his bathroom today suddenly hits my memory banks again, and I very nearly swerve into a parked car. It's like some kind of mental dam has broken, and now, isolated memories of him over the past month and a half are starting to look like those optical illusion images. Like the one with the rabbit that's clearly a rabbit until suddenly your perception shifts and you realize it's a duck. Things like how huge his calloused hand had felt gripping my elbow the other week when he stopped me from stepping into a muddy puddle. Or how his deep voice is always so much rougher, raspier the mornings I accidentally wake him up. Or the way his body emits heat like a furnace whenever I stand too close, but in a pleasant way. Like when my skin gets warm and toasty in front of a campfire. Suddenly, all of it has the inside of my car feeling hotter than a burning kiln. I roll down all my windows to let in some brisk mountain air, and though the early morning fog helps a little, I'm starting to think that nothing short of an ice-cold shower is going to work. Almost 30 years I've been on this planet, and this is the first time I'm actually, legitimately, hot and bothered over a man. Not that I've never been attracted to a man before, I definitely have, but it was always short-lived. Usually dying the moment that put-off look would creep into his eyes. The same look most people get around me when they realize they can't quite figure me out and, moreover, that they don't want to. I swear I make an effort to not be weird, but it just happens. Maybe it's because I'm not good at keeping behind those invisible lines people draw around themselves. I'm not sure why I don't see said lines until, well, after I've trudged across them. With guys, it always starts out the same, with them asking for my number. Every time, I find myself wincing and almost wishing I were the kind of woman that drew over the men who are only looking for one-night stands. I've gone out drinking with my guys enough times to have heard how simple and quick the exchanges go when they're picking up their drunken flavor of the week, no-name walk of shame quickies. No man has ever tried that with me. Nope. I always get the nice guys who want to chat on the phone before asking me out on a proper date. Small talk, not a skill I possess. I never know how to tell them that I'm not good at chatting on the phone, or chatting in general, at least not about anything outside of work. So I end up giving them my phone number. Sometimes, miraculously, those awkward first conversations still result in plans for a first date, with the optimistic guys at least. The more realistic ones jump out of the burning building the second their weirdo detection alarm starts blaring, usually by the 5-minute mark. So far, my record is 2 minutes flat. I think that time I'd answered the question about how my day went by describing, in pretty vivid detail, how we'd unclogged a drainage ditch at one of my job sites and found ourselves knee-deep in a veritable sea of frogs, and how a group of frogs is apparently called an army, according to Google. Frankly, I recall judging the guy a little bit for continuing to talk to me for a whole minute after I told him that fun amphibian fact. Though I do appreciate his effort at trying to remember the name of the Muppet character Ms. Piggy had been in love with to keep the conversation going those last painful 10 seconds before he finally made a lame excuse and hung up. With Jason, however, our chats are never awkward. No questions about my non-existent weekend plans. No asking me how my equally non-existent family is. It's shop talk, and that's it. Everything is brief, almost abrupt. I love that. There's no pussyfooting with him, no socially acceptable rules to abide by. He doesn't care that I'm conversationally challenged. He just cares that I do a good job. Don't get me wrong, I'm not stupid enough to believe Jason doesn't think I'm peculiar. But the sheer fact that I haven't once seen that look in his eyes yet, the one that says he's kind of wishing we'd never met and that he's already written me off as a person too strange to spend another second with, well, let's just say that counts for a lot. And to top it all, he handpicked me to run this incredible project. It's amazing to have someone like him truly believe in me, trust me, to bring his construction vision to life. I just can't let him down, which means I absolutely, positively cannot be developing these bizarre new feelings for him. Nope, can't happen. So, all I have to do is stop thinking sexy thoughts about the man. Forget I ever saw Jason Steele naked. Yep, easy peasy. 6. Summer. Friday. Time, 3:03 a.m. In light of what happened the other morning with all the inappropriate cock staring, I know I shouldn't be here again, but Jason's been acting weird. And for me to think a person is being weird, it has to be pretty bad. 4 whole days now he's been avoiding me, which is kind of a feat considering we work out of the same trailer on site. The first 2 days, he volunteered to oversee the breakdown and removal of the existing sewage pipes underground. No one volunteers for that. It's literally a crap job. The next day wasn't any better. He stayed at his corporate office, which anyone who knows him could tell you he absolutely hates to do. And then yesterday, he sent me an email about how he'd have an update on the marshlands for me to review by next week. The man rarely ever sends me emails. Plus, he was sitting 10 feet away from me at the time. So here I am, freaking the heck out and knocking incessantly on his door. He has to answer. If he doesn't, there's a good chance my heart is going to pound its way right out of my chest. And call me paranoid, but I'm pretty sure my having a heart attack outside of his door would just make things even weirder between us. As I continue to knock, I'm reminded of the one guy who'd managed to make it through a record 3 dates with me. In the end, he'd called me overbearingly over-analytical and unable to let go of the little things before never calling me again. If I could help it, I would. My own mother used to tell me I was a constant irritation the entire time I was growing up, but I just don't see how other people, normal people, manage to see a problem right in front of them and not need to do something about it. For me, if something seems broken, I can't stop thinking about it until I at least have a plan to fix it. If I can't come up with a plan, I can't stop thinking. If I can't stop thinking, I can't sleep. If only my brain had an on-off switch. Thankfully for my aching knuckles, the door finally swings open. And just like that, all those overabundant thoughts in my head are wiped out completely. As Jason towers in the doorway, with his 6-foot-plus frame shirtless as usual, hair disheveled from sleep, and chiseled expression visibly on edge, the only thing my brain registers is, he has green eyes. No, just no. Noticing the color of the man's eyes is not allowed. I avert my gaze, which ends up being a colossal tactical error because now I'm looking at his broad, perfectly sculpted chest. It's somehow bigger than I remember. His shoulders, too, and don't even get me started on his arms. I'm unable to look away. Until, that is, I hear him make a brisk, grumpy sound that sounds hoarse with fatigue and something else I can't put my finger on. I risk looking back up at his face to find his attention focused on what I'm wearing. I look down to make sure my pajama shirt is fully buttoned. It is. Phew. But hell, I forgot to put on shorts again. Good thing my shirt is long enough that he'll never know.
It's fucking 3 a.m., Summer. What do you need?
Good question. I'm mortified to discover I'm suddenly drawing a blank. Another long second of total silence passes, and I'm actually starting to worry that I might be having a stroke. It's like I'm physically unable to find words, any words, to utter out loud. At least I'm not staring at his chest or arms anymore. Go me. It's a small victory, but a hard-fought one, if I'm being perfectly honest about it. Forget the stroke. It's possible I'm suffering from brain damage. Jason leans in a bit, as if he's hoping being a bit closer will help me use my words. It has the exact opposite effect. At my second failed attempt at coherent, multi-syllable words, Jason simply sighs and steps back into his loft.
Come inside. It's cold out there.
He leads me into his living room and drops tiredly into a dark leather chair.
Sit,
he says, pointing at the couch across from him. To his credit, he doesn't even look surprised when I forego the sofa and just drop to my butt on the floor where I stand.
Okay, out with it. What's wrong?
He asks gruffly, though in a voice gentler than I've ever heard it. Seriously, just say something. Anything. Equipment! The word bursts out of me like a Hail Mary pass, followed by enough words for an actual sentence. Some of the equipment we received were...
Hang on.
He interrupts me, his words curt, almost rough.
You woke me up at 3 a.m. for something that you and I both know can only be handled on site.
Yes? I respond in question form, knowing he's not buying it. A taciturn, try-again expression is his only response. I can't sleep, I finish lamely, going with something truthful, but feeling like a bumbling idiot at the same time. His expression softens then, as if I've said something that hits home for him as well.
Is something bothering you?
I nod.
Do you want to talk about it?
For a second, I'm thrown for a complete loop that a human being is actually suggesting I open my mouth and unleash the contents of my overactive brain, voluntarily. But then he shifts forward in his seat and my mind whites out again, leaving my eyes without a keeper as they start traveling lower and lower. As much as I fight it, and I really do, I find myself fixated on the one thing I'm more interested in thinking about than work at the moment.
7. Jason. Friday. Time? Way too early for morning wood. She's staring at my dick again, and as much as I fight it, I really do, I find my cock getting hard enough to hammer nails. I should tell her to cut it out, but I don't. For some totally screwy reason, I'm not thinking about maintaining a professional distance right now. No, I'm thinking about how I miss the shocked expression on her face from the other day, how I miss the wonder, the curiosity she'd had while staring at my hard cock, and how I miss the feeling that I'm the only man to get her that flushed and flustered in a while. Or ever. Damn it. The possessive, downright primal gut clench I feel at that last possibility is the only thing that's able to snap me out of it. So, are you going to tell me what's on your mind or not, Summer? I purposely make my tone harsher than usual.
Are you going to fire me?
She blurts out, face full of dread. I blink at her in confusion. What?
I'm sorry I stared so long at your, package the other day. I swear I won't do it again.
A dark blush stains her cheeks.
I mean, I promise after this last time, just now.
Well, shit. What does it say about me that I'm getting pissed over her vowing to never look at my heart-on again? That's messed up, man. Forget about it. It's no big deal.
We both know that's not true. You're my boss. It was inappropriate. I basically sexually harassed you.
She looks down, shoulders heartbreakingly slumped.
I would understand if you don't want to work with me anymore.
So that's what has her looking more worried than usual. I'm not going to fire you over this, Summer.
Any other boss would. If any of your other workers did what I did,
I bark out a laugh at that. If any of my big, hulking construction workers came into my bathroom unannounced and stared at my junk, yeah, I probably would fire him. She looks close to tears as she scrambles quickly to her feet.
Thank you for the opportunity, Jason. I won't ever forget it.
My smile fades away. I jump out of my chair and snag her elbow to keep her from walking away. I told you I'm not firing you, Summer. Her spine stiffens.
Because I'm not a big hulking dude.
One thing I've always found fascinating about Summer is that she truly, genuinely thinks she's just one of the guys. Her first day working for me, she'd asked the men where they were all taking a whiz so she could go as well, since the 2 portable toilets we had on site were both occupied. She was all set to do it, too, toilet paper roll in hand and everything. I almost fired my entire crew when I heard they'd stood around and watched her get as far as unzipping her jeans before my main foreman intervened and practically threw her into his truck to drive her to a nearby gas station restroom. According to him, she chewed him out something spectacular the entire time.
I don't like you thinking of me differently from the men,
she says plainly, arms crossed over her chest. Well, tough shit. Sorry to break it to you, sweetheart, but I do think of you differently. Always have, always will. She jerks back as if I've struck her. Oh, hell, I know that look. If I've learned anything about Summer after all this time, I know that she's not getting ready to crumble. She's getting ready to...
Field test. Tomorrow.
She growls, poking me in the sternum with an angry index finger, eyes sparking and downright livid.
Me against your best guy. Steel framing and wood framing. I'll bet you 1 month's pay that I'll be faster, better, and use less materials.
Good Lord, the woman is too much. She's fucking lucky I'm not ripping off her sexy little bottomless outfit and burying my face between her legs right now. As she stands there with her mutinous little fists balled up at her sides, I study her big blue eyes and the slight sprinkle of freckles crossing her nose, both of which are growing more pronounced the longer I let her seethe. Summer, trust me when I tell you that I wish I could see you as just one of the guys, that I could ignore how goddamn beautiful you are. I grit out through my teeth. But I can't. Her lips part a fraction of an inch in pure, unadulterated shock. I already know you're better than my guys. If I'm ever down a man and I need someone of your caliber to fill in, believe me, I'm going to expect you to be out there with us. But none of that changes the fact that I'm fully aware that you're a woman. A gorgeous woman I can't stop thinking about no matter how hard I try. Face flushing pink, she sinks her teeth into her lower lip and gives me that cute, confused little smile. My favorite of all her facial expressions. That's all it takes to break me. Before I know it, I'm wrapping an arm around her waist and drawing her in close. Slowly, though, so she can stop me if she wants to. But instead of pulling away, she molds herself flush against me. And I'm fucking lost. How the hell she expects me to think of her as one of my men, I'll never understand. She's dainty, tiny compared to me, and she always smells good, even after hours of hard labor. I blame that fruity lotion she keeps in her desk. After I saw her smoothing it on her arms one day, all I could think about for the rest of the week was strawberries. Or, more specifically, strawberry sauce, and my licking it off the soft skin of her belly right there in the office trailer. Fuck, I want her mouth on mine. Her full lips have been driving me to distraction since the day we met. But now that I'm feeling her hard little nipples pressed against me, I'm torn as to where I want to put my mouth first. Any hope of her helping me with this tie-breaking decision is shot to hell when she takes her curious little hands and starts running them shyly across my torso. That's my cue to come to my damn senses. I have to let her go. Now. Right now. But even as I tell myself it's the right thing to do, my arms don't listen. They don't let her go. I don't back off. I don't unwind her from my grip. I don't sever whatever this is keeping me connected to her. Instead, I continue to hold her, staring into her wide, trusting blue eyes, wondering if I'd ever forgive myself if I threw away my self-imposed rules just this once. What's one night? I've spent a lifetime following rules, pushing boundaries but never crossing them. Who says I can't break this one arbitrary rule? My hand presses to her hip and I run it up her ribs, loving the planes of her body. She's so fucking beautiful. Sleek, gentle curves, toned and tanned from all the manual labor our trade demands. Exotic, expressive eyes. And a lush mouth I could fantasize about for hours. When she turns those eyes and that mouth up to me, I can't help myself. I do the one thing I've been wanting to do since the first time I saw her in this sexy-ass shirt. I undo a button, then another. "Jason," she breathes, and my cock jumps at the sound of my name crossing her lips for the first time. She's never called me anything but boss or Mr. Steele until now. If she does it again, I'll be taking her right here on the goddamn living room rug. Jesus Christ. This woman is going to destroy my sanity, my sense of right and wrong, unless I do the smart thing and hit the brakes this instant. But I don't. Instead, I spear my fingers through her sun-streaked hair, pulling her messy bun loose. The soft, silky waves tickle as they tumble over my hand to skim the top of her hip. I hadn't realized her hair was so long, or that letting it out of those sensible buns she always wears would release the scent of flowers. Summer flowers. Fitting. And now, all I can think about is how it would feel to wrap those long, flower-scented golden brown strands around my fist as I coax her lips open with my thick, hard... Fuck. How does this sweet, maddening little woman manage to get past every last one of my defenses without even trying? If I don't stop now, I won't stop at all. "You should go," I somehow managed to mutter thickly, surprised at how fucking hard it is to utter the words. I'd thought it'd eventually fade, this spark between us, this tension. Evidently, I'd thought wrong.
8. Summer. Friday. Time. For the first time ever, I have no clue. "You've never told me to leave before," I murmur inanely. I'm not sure why it bears mentioning, but it does. Not once in all this time we've known each other. No matter how annoying I got. You've shut the door in my face before I made it inside, yes, but you've never made me feel unwelcome, unwanted here once I got past the door.
"You're always welcome here, Summer."
But today you want me to leave. He sighs gruffly.
"No, I actually don't. And that's exactly why you need to leave."
His tone is firm this time, resolute. He lets go of me and takes a step back. The loss of his touch, his body heat, is so acute a tiny sound of protest escapes me. He halts and looks down at me as if he's worried he's hurt me. We're toe-to-toe, face-to-face, and all I want is to get that heat back, his touch back. It's as if he can hear my thoughts, loud and clear, and his lips instantly press into a grim line in response. The visible regret darkening his deep green eyes is what jerks me back to reality. What am I doing? This is my boss, my landlord, the best boss and landlord I've ever had. Be that as it may, logic and reason both appear to be MIA as I begin to close the distance between us one more time, even though everything inside of me is screaming at me to stop before I cross one of those invisible lines I can't uncross later. But I don't care. I reach up to touch his face. God, he's just so rugged and manly. The stubble across his jawline feels like coarse sandpaper, which makes me wonder how it would feel under my lips or rubbing against my skin. His eyes close, and after a moment's hesitation, he turns into my touch. His warm lips press to the inside of my wrist, and I feel a shockwave of tingling pleasure explode outward from the point of contact through my entire body. My heart starts pounding wildly in my chest as I timidly rise up on my tiptoes so I can slide my hands through his hair. Slowly, clumsily, I've never done this before, any of it, but he doesn't seem put off by my ineptitude. Still, I can't seem to take that last, bold step. Luckily, he takes it for me. Our lips finally meet, and it's like I'm touching a live wire. His hands flex into my hips, bringing me even closer to him as his tongue strokes the seam of my lips. The moment I give in to the sexy new sensation and part my lips for him, his tongue sweeps into my mouth, just once, before he groans and tears himself away. "Don't stop," I whisper.
I need to.
He grates out, sounding torn, like a trapped animal struggling against his restraints.
I need to stop now, or I won't be stopping until I'm inside you, until you're taking every last inch of me.
He drops that bomb and stares at me, his eyes stormy, his jaw clenched tight. I don't know what to say. I'm sure there's an appropriately sexy response to his admission that would show him how much I want him to do exactly that, but I'm out of my depths here, so I simply go with, "Okay." A sad smile hits his lips.
Not okay. This can't happen.
Oh, God. I feel my embarrassment burning hot across my cheeks. I practically threw myself at the man, and he's turning me down. I start to entangle myself from him.
Summer, you have to know that I want you with every fiber of my being, but we can't do this, you and I.
I do what he did to me the other morning and cover his mouth. I don't want to hear the end of that sentence. I don't want to be told how different we are. I already know. Probably more than he does. Me, with a billionaire, with my past. I pull out of his grasp fully and straighten my shirt. It takes me a second, but I manage to get my head on straight again. "Thank you for letting me come over and talk through my concerns with you," I say, heading to the door. He follows me.
Summer.
I open the door and step into the hallway, my tone as businesslike as I can make it. "I'll see you at work on Monday, boss, and I'll try not to bother you when you're sleeping anymore." 9. Summer. Tuesday. Time, 3:01 a.m. I'm exhausted. Bone deep, soul half asleep tired. And it's all Jason freaking Steele's fault. The man went from avoiding me for most of last week to showing up seemingly everywhere I turned after our little kiss fiasco. It started early Saturday evening when he came knocking on my apartment door. Routine landlord inspection, he'd called it, which, he'd added when I'd tried to slip out and leave him to it, the tenant needed to be present for while he was in the unit. He had a clipboard and everything. So I stayed, and for the next hour, he made me stay by his side while he checked the vents, the locks on the windows, the paint on the ceilings, even the frickin' caulking on the baseboards. A whole hour I stood by as he treated me with kid gloves, shooting concerned glances my way whenever he thought I wasn't looking, talking all gentle-like instead of in his usual voice. It drove me up the wall. If there's one thing I hate more than being treated like a woman, it's being treated like a weak, vulnerable woman. So, to show him, and maybe also myself a little bit, that I was just fine, that I wasn't all falling apart at the seams or wilting like a sad flower over what happened, or didn't happen, rather, between us, I texted some of my guys to see if anyone wanted to go out drinking. It's funny. Though I'm awkward and just plain awful at dating those nice guys who ask me out, I'm actually pretty normal in social settings with construction dudes. Years of practice, I guess. And since I usually make the effort to hang out with my men every so often to keep the camaraderie up, I figured 2 birds, 1 stone. I even dressed up a little for the occasion, meaning I did something with my hair other than coil it up into a bun for a change, and I threw on a pretty girly tank top on over my jeans instead of the plain t-shirts I usually wore out. Still, it was enough to earn me a few whistles from my guys, which went a long way in making me feel better. Really, it was the perfect, fun little distraction, until, surprise, surprise, Jason showed up. He waltzed into the bar with 2 of his buddies, Cade and Logan, both of whom I've met before in passing on the site a couple of times. Since both guys apparently knew a lot of my guys pretty well, of course the trio was invited to join us. And so began 3 long hours of Jason watching over me like a mother hen, or a protective rooster. Whatever the appropriate overbearing bird metaphor, he was the very dictionary definition of it, much to his 2 ever so unhelpful buddies' visible amusement. With every bottle of beer I drank, his expression grew more brooding. Every time one of the guys touched me in any friendly, totally innocent way, whether it was a simple pat on my knee or even a brief shoulder nudge to get my attention, he glared at them like they were committing an unholy sin. Then he got downright hostile with a nice accountant-looking man who'd sidled up to me at the bar and offered to buy me a drink. 10 whole minutes he spent afterward chewing me out and lecturing me on being more careful about men buying me drinks. Finally, with my night officially ruined, I told the guys I was taking off and I went outside to get an Uber. Tried to, at least. Before I could even finish pulling up the app, I had a totally sober, 6'3" disgruntled billionaire swiping my phone from my hands and dragging me over to his truck to drive me home himself. I feigned sleep the entire ride back to our building. Sunday, I spent most of the day surveying the marshlands, just like I had the 2 Sundays prior. Unlike those other 2 Sundays, however, I had a shadow the whole time. As soon as I saw the big black work truck parked right next to mine outside the trailer, I tried waiting Jason out. But when it started raining a bit, I finally gave in and trudged on back to the job site, fully prepared to get my ass handed to me for being out there alone, seeing as how I'm a woman and all. But he didn't yell at me or scold me. He just gave me a silent once-over, as if checking to make sure I didn't have any visible scratches or bumps and bruises. Then he climbed into his truck and left without a word. Yesterday, however, the man upped his game considerably. All day long, every time I tried to talk to any of my guys in private about something, he'd pull some barely plausible reason to step in, literally, and send them off to take care of something clear on the other side of the job site, just so he could get me alone to lock those intense green eyes on me and tell me we needed to talk about us. It was tricky, but I managed to escape each time. I used the fake phone call trick a few times, the classic, look over there, and running in the opposite direction tactic once, which I honestly didn't think was going to work, before finally resorting to hopping in my truck and continuously parking it in new locations around the site while doing mundane paperwork with my windows rolled up until the end of the workday. Cowardly? Yes, but also highly effective. I know Jason. He'd never make a scene in front of the guys. Maybe today I should go see how those sewer pipes are coming. Sleepy but sound plan in place, my brain finally gives me the go-ahead to close my eyes and try to get at least a few minutes of shut-eye before the sun comes up. The last 3 nights I barely got a wink of sleep, because, as it turns out, having Jason follow me around during the day inevitably results in him following me right into my dreams at night. Who knew my imagination was so, well, imaginative, not to mention vivid. Even now, I'm fully conscious that I'm dreaming. I know that Jason isn't really stalking into my room grouchy as hell and reprimanding me for running from him all day yesterday in that deep, sexy voice. Still, I feel every inch of my body flood with heat and my panties getting drenched the instant he pounces on top of me on the bed and rips open my shirt. I feel my legs actually parting under my sheets as Dream Jason presses his big, hard body against me, pinning me down with that huge, thick cock of his to prevent me from escaping again. I know it's only a dream, but I let myself revel in it anyway, because in the dream, I'm not the weird tomboy who's never had sex but has worked more power tools than most men ever will in their lifetime. No, I'm the strong, sexy woman that's capable of making a man like Jason Steele lose control. The woman bold enough to go after what she wants the second he starts to. That last, truly fantastical thought has my hands fisting against the bed covers in frustration. What I want, I'll never have. This is all just a dream, a fantasy that's never coming true. I need to accept that and banish these futile delusions about Jason and me to the farthest corners of my mind. I can't screw this up. This is literally the biggest job I've taken on to date and the first big commercial project I've run point on in a while, to be honest. Before, when Granddad was still alive, folks used to hire me out of respect for him after I took over his company. He had personally taught me everything he knew and arranged for me to work my butt off for the best of the best in the Pacific Northwest right out of high school. Maybe that's why I feel a sort of kinship with Jason. It's a well-known fact that Jason's father was a self-made billionaire who raised Jason the way he'd grown up, working from dawn to dusk. Back before Steel Developments International went global, they created their fortune working low-glamour, high-stakes projects like dams and bridges, after years building everything from highways to military barracks and even prisons. When Jason joined the family business, he brought his savvy smarts and started landing them top-dollar projects like sports stadiums and premier golf course resorts, along with lavish luxury communities for the outlandishly rich, skyrocketing their net worth to what it is now. And he did it all, not from some glass office, but out with his men on the job sites getting covered in grime, swearing up a storm, and eating out of food trucks right alongside them. I respect him for that. Like Jason, I practically grew up with a hard hat, spending most of my youth surrounded by brusque, hard-working, I am who I am, take it or leave it construction guys. It was awesome. Though I'd had a mom, it was my grandfather who raised me. And he raised me right. Granddad made sure I could build a house from top to bottom with the bare minimum supplies, while ensuring I could also use every tool and work every piece of machinery. No one pushed me harder than he did. And because of that, working my way up through the trades to becoming one of the youngest and most qualified general contractors in the state a couple years ago had been a breeze. And though I've never run point on anything as grand as the stuff Jason normally takes on, I've had my fair share of commercial success. I've handled swanky high-rises and specialty gyms, as well as schools and even a small strip mall once. But again, regardless how good my work was, I wasn't just a woman in a strongly male-dominated profession, but also one with a reputation for downright odd people skills that used to be muttered about enough to make the big projects and long-term top-notch crewmen harder to come by after Granddad finally passed. It didn't bother me too much, though. I just kept my head down and gave all I had to the projects I did get. Work is work. That's what Granddad always used to say. I miss hearing his words of wisdom. Miss him, period. Every day. When he died, I lost the only person in the world who ever got me or ever truly liked me. Sure, my mom loved me in her own basic, biologically encoded way, but she definitely never liked me. Still doesn't, in fact. We essentially butt heads over everything. Case in point, after my mom found out what I had planned for the money Granddad had left me, she made what should have been good deeds feel like root canal surgeries. She rolled her eyes over every check I wrote to fund scholarships for disadvantaged youths wanting to enter the trades, whined about the donations I made to various construction charities in areas recently hit by natural disasters, and then downright bitched over the contribution I made to the new wing at the hospice center I'd ended up moving him to when I discovered the deplorable conditions of the care home she and her husband at the time had initially stuck him in. That's why, when I got the approval to build Granddad's memorial gazebo in his favorite park, I didn't touch what was left of his life insurance money. I didn't even tell her what I was doing at all. The last thing I'd wanted was any of her negativity to touch that memorial. She would have ruined it by complaining about my paying more for the see-through glass top for sure, and no doubt disparaged my decision to splurge on the wheelchair swing. What's worse, she wouldn't have understood why I did either. Granddad used to love sitting on his porch swing and looking up at the stars at night. Two things she would have known if she'd cared enough to spend any time at all with him. Her loss. She missed out on getting to know the greatest man I've ever known. A man I still partly believe is watching over me and my career. Because, let's face it, if not for the swing and the gazebo, I never would have gotten onto Jason's radar in the first place. The memorial had caught Jason's attention sometime last year after his dad's passing, though he didn't find my information and make contact until just a few months ago, when he first started having problems with the construction manager he ended up firing. And now here we are, with me heading a project I'm absolutely in love with, for a man I'm starting to have decidedly unprofessional feelings for. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Now emotionally as well as physically exhausted, but no closer to sleep, I give up trying to fight my insomnia and decide to get some work done. Sewage pipes today, definitely. Maybe that'll give me a brief reprieve from thinking about the man. 10. Summer. Wednesday. Time, 7:17 a.m. Shit, I'm late for work. Me, Summer Davis. I've never once been late for anything in my entire life. Not back when I was squeezing in 5 a.m. apprentice shifts, loading lumber and equipment while training on machines every morning before my high school classes. Not even when I was juggling a full-time college course load in the evenings after spending my days on burning hot roofs, hammering down shingles, or hauling and hanging umpteenth sheets of drywall and sheetrock, what I affectionately like to call the year of ibuprofen. But today of all days, I'm late. Worst of all, I'm late for a lame, moronic reason. I overslept. Or overdreamt, rather. 4 nights in a row now, I've been plagued with dreams of Jason so vivid. I've woken up feeling achy in places I've never ached before. These dreams, they aren't just vividly realistic, they're elaborately erotic. Downright dirty. And because of all the vivid, elaborate dirtiness, I'm going to be over an hour late to work. Shit! Things can't continue like this. I need to find a way to get the man out of my head. And while I'm at it, I need to stop going stupid every time he accidentally touches me. His palm, ghosting the small of my back when he walks past. His fingers squeezing my elbow when he needs to get my attention. His jawline grazing my shoulder when he speaks in my ear to be heard over the construction noise. All perfectly innocent until my imagination turns it into dirty, sexy fodder for these crazy, impossible fantasies. Crazy, incredible fantasies. Damn it. Before I can fall down that rabbit hole again and make myself even later, I rush to throw on the nearest clean clothes I see, and I'm out the door in under a minute, speeding up to the job site at breakneck speeds. I make it in record time, shocked I didn't have flashing red and blue lights behind me in high-speed pursuit the whole way. I skid to a stop outside the trailer, my tires kicking up clouds of dust that make a dramatic entrance for me as I sprint up the squeaky metal ramp. The door flies open before I can turn the knob. "You're late." My heart thunders in my chest at his dark, disapproving glare. I'm so sorry. I can't even defend myself. I have no excuse. "You missed an important-ass meeting, and I can tell you're not ready to meet the inspector this morning." Shit, the inspector. I dig my nails into my palms to keep from crying. I've never, ever screwed up like this. Jason's gaze zooms in on my unshed tears. But instead of backing off, he comes down even harder. "You can't fuck up like this, Summer," he barks. "Not on this project. Not with a fuckload of your colleagues just waiting to tell me I told you so for hiring you despite the rumors." I feel the blood drain from my face as his last sentence registers fully. The harsh words hit its mark dead on. But they also dry up my tears in a way nothing else can. "I promise, boss. It won't happen again." His eyes narrow on me for a beat. "It better not." With that, he storms off, and I smile for the first time in days. It's a damn relief to have things finally back to normal with us.
11. Jason. Tuesday, time 10:15 a.m. She's back to her usual self. Thank fuck. I hated railing on her ass last week, but it needed to be done. There's a lot riding on the success of this project, for both of us. Still, I feel like a dick for having to be so blunt. I know she was only late because she hasn't been sleeping. I see the dark circles under her eyes getting worse every day, and I wish like hell that I could help her. But just as she promised, she hasn't once shown up at my place to tear me away from my sleep since. I fucking hate that. At least she isn't trying to avoid me anymore. Progress there. I swear just one more day of that and I would have thrown her over my shoulder and dragged her back to my place, kept us locked in my bedroom having sex on every available surface until we both got it out of our systems. Problem is, I don't think getting Summer out of my system is even possible. It'd be fine, or at least manageable, if she simply plagued my dreams. At least dreams you can wake up from. Forget, even. But these wild-ass, wide-awake thoughts I've been having about the woman since that kiss, hell, all the wet dreams I've ever had in my life combined don't even come close to comparing. It's been intense. Night after night I'm hit with these high-def, crystal-clear images of her under me, writhing and moaning, her arms stretched high above her on the bed, my left hand pinning her wrists together while my other hand slides into those sexy pair of panties I once caught a glimpse of under her PJs. The pair with tiny little cherries all over them. The pair I always end up shredding with my teeth so I can tongue her soaking wet little slit and... Damn it, now I'm hard again. At work, no less. Boss? Ah, hell, now I'm even harder. I turn around and see the object of my burgeoning insanity holding a folder out to me. "Call me Jason from now on," I say without thinking. Everyone else does. It's just easier since we have so many different company crews on site now, each with their own foreman. Yep, I'm a twisted son of a bitch. Still want to hear her calling me by my name even though I can't touch her. She shrugs. "Okay, here are my updated plans for the..." She trails off and gives me a weird look. "What's wrong?" I frown. It can't be my hard-on making her mute, because my tool belt is doing a bang-up job keeping that from being public knowledge. Plus, the woman's made good on her vow never to look at my cock, or even in its general vicinity again. I fucking hate that new development, too. She gazes over at her desk behind me. "Did you..." She walks over and picks up a glazed blueberry fritter so big she needs 2 hands to hold it. "Did you get me a pastry?" I nod out the window over to where our guys are pigging out on donuts. I picked up a couple dozen for the guys since I know they got an early start today. Knowing them, they would have scarfed them all down before you even got a chance to smell them, so I saved one for you. "These are my absolute favorite," she says, her voice sounding surprised that I'd know a detail like that about her. "From your favorite bakery, too." She shakes her head at me in wonder before excitedly tearing off a piece and popping it in her mouth with a happy little smile, followed by a tiny little moan. That forces me to adjust the fit of my jeans. Good industrial tool belt. "So, about the marshlands," I say, averting my eyes from the innocent pastry-eating extravaganza that's registering as porn, where my poor, confused cock is concerned. I quickly flip through the newly added rough sketches and longitudinal cost analysis charts. Her last draft was also extremely detailed and impressive as hell. Really, this update is just going to make my investors think I'm showing off. Which reminds me. "Your name's not on this," I say, tapping on the clear folder. "Wasn't on the last one you turned into me either." She blinks in surprise and panic. "Because those are just my informal notes." I grin over her idea of informal notes. It's like calling Disneyland a little playground. She starts scrambling around, grabbing photo printouts and booting up her laptop before yanking the folder out of my hand and body-blocking me when I try to take it back. "I wasn't aware you were expecting a formal proposal yet. These were just some things I put together because I thought you were still considering the purchase." "I've already decided to buy the land. So I'll need you to throw a cover page on this." I tickle her ribs and snatch the folder back when she yelps, so I can submit it to my board for final approval. I want to make sure to give credit where it's rightfully due. My crazy-as-hell overachiever gives me a look like I've just asked her to be an accomplice in an unthinkable double homicide. "This isn't ready for your board to see?" Fritter, now totally forgotten, another highlighter, gets frantically shoved into her bun while she prints out a bunch of documents and unfolds a map of the marshlands with 100 or so neon flags and place marker stickers on it. "Just give me 24 hours. If I work through the night, I'll be able to..." Her eyes go wide the moment my hand gently slides over her mouth. "No more skipping sleep, Summer," I say sternly. When she turns to me and utters a quiet, "But..." I slowly rub my thumb over her lower lip, partly to stop her protesting, and partly to brush away a few donut crumbs, but mostly because I need an excuse to touch her lips again. If not with my thumb, it'll be my mouth again. Then I won't be able to stop until I have those soft, full lips wrapped around my... Fuck. Focus, Steel. Put a cover page on this for now so I can meet with the board and make the purchase, then take another week for the formal proposal. At her adorably stubborn frown, I sigh. "I mean it. Take the week. You need to sleep more." I graze the back of my knuckles over the dark circles under her eyes. "I'm going to make sure that everyone knows this idea was yours, which means a lot of meetings and maybe even some interviews. Can't have folks thinking I'm an evil slave driver who's making you burn the midnight oil every night." She starts shaking her head frantically. Interviews? I won't be good in an interview." You'll be great. I reply in a tone that says, since I've declared it, it's going to be so. Eyes still wide and more than a little disbelieving, she whispers gravely, I don't think this is going to be good for my insomnia. I won't be able to stop worrying over the details. She takes a big, anxious bite out of her fritter and begins scribbling down post-it note after post-it note to herself as she chews. Christ, she's so fucking cute when she's being neurotic. That's my other stipulation, I say, stealing an extra glazed corner chunk to pop in my mouth, grinning again when the little donut addict moves the fritter out of my reach with a tiny territorial growl. From now on, if something regarding this project is preventing you from sleeping, you goddamn better be at my door to let me help. I don't care what time it is, and that's non-negotiable. We're in this together, Summer. While she stares at me like I've begun speaking in an alien language, I stare right back at her, mostly to see if there aren't any more loose donut crumbles I can brush away for her. There are, on the front of her t-shirt, sprinkled over the big steel logo framed rather perfectly across the tempting swell of her breasts. The woman never makes things easy on me. I resist the impulse to take care of those crumbs with my mouth and instead reach over to lift her jaw slack chin. I already bought a bottle of that god-awful hazelnut syrup you put in your coffee, so forget about going over to that coffee shop on the other side of town anymore. It's dangerous. You can doctor your coffee exactly how you like it in my kitchen from now on. Her expression goes from dumbfounded to outright flabbergasted. But why? I shrug matter-of-factly. For all the reasons I just said, and because I've discovered that I'd much rather be dead tired with you bugging me until the sun rises than well-rested without having had you pester my ass awake at all. She gapes at me in stunned, near catatonic silence. I don't like her silent. I like hearing her, all the time, her unique little reactions and responses to things, her utter lack of a filter. Summer just being Summer. It's damn addicting. She's damn addicting. Which is why her standing there in total silence after what I just revealed is making me fucking crazy. I want to hear her, without a filter, reacting and responding. To me. Right here. Right fucking now.
12. Summer. Tuesday. Time? Daytime? I think. Ask me again later. He's kissing me. Jason Steele has his mouth on mine. Right here, on the job site, in the middle of a workday. But the where and when of the matter isn't nearly as pressing as the why at the moment, as in, why in the world did he hold back the last time? The brief kiss we'd shared in his penthouse had been great, amazing even, but it had nothing on what his mouth is doing to mine now. This kiss is raw, elemental, mind-erasing, absolutely consequence-deserving, to a certain extent. Lord knows I've been dreaming about this for weeks now. Longer, if I'm being totally truthful, but here, at work, where anyone could walk into the trailer and see us, I should pull away. Instead of heeding that extremely sound advice, however, my arms decide to slip around his neck and draw him closer. Only the second I do, he breaks off the kiss.
We should stop,
he murmurs roughly, his eyes stormy, his hands flexing against my hips. So, we're in agreement. Stopping is definitely the way to go here. But we're not going to. I know it. He knows it.
I wanted you from the moment I laid eyes on you,
he mutters in a gritty, strained voice.
Then you woke my ass up that first morning and decided to show me all your crazy at once. No downplaying, no easing me in.
His forehead comes down to rest on mine.
And I fucking wanted you even more.
Good Lord. That's just about the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. I feel his hands smooth up my sides and then stop abruptly. His entire frame goes rigid with tension, as if the struggle for him is just as real as it is for me. The longer he holds himself back, the more I try to as well. The entire battle lasting all of 2 heartbeats before I slowly go up on my tiptoes and graze my lips along his lower lip. He tastes minty and hot. If hot could be a flavor, Jason Steele would have the monopoly on it. A split second later, he's returning the favor, capturing my lower lip between his teeth, while his eyes lock on me as his hand slides around to the back of my skull to hold me hostage.
"You're so fucking sexy,"
he murmurs, his lips on mine once more, sending heat searing through my chest and emotions I've never felt before ricocheting around behind my ribs.
"Your perfect little body has been driving me crazy for months now."
My body is far from perfect. My breasts are small, not nearly full enough to make any noteworthy cleavage to speak of, but just bouncy enough that I'll never pass for sporty. My legs are littered with construction scars I've gathered from different job sites over the years, and my butt is a little too round for my small frame. But right now, while he's gazing down at my body with that searing hunger heating his gaze 1,000 degrees hotter with each passing second, I feel desirable, beautiful. It's a heady feeling. He trails his lips down my throat.
"Tell me to stop, Summer."
I can't. Heart pounding, body humming with need, I bypass my sensibilities and reach down to undo his tool belt. He groans, but doesn't stop me. Better yet, he takes over, removing his tool belt altogether before he lifts me onto his desk. I look down and see him palm his thick cock through his work jeans, showing me how hard he is, watching me watching him. It's just as big as I remember. And the harder it gets, the more I begin to wonder how he'd feel. Taste. What would it be like to have him inside me? I hear myself moan. His eyes flare with heat.
"What dirty little thoughts are you thinking right now? Tell me."
I shake my head. He lets out a quiet growl over my refusal to answer, and I swear my pussy starts to throb.
"Then how about I tell you what kinds of thoughts I'm thinking instead?"
He leans in close to tell me in a hot, hushed whisper.
"It usually starts with me picturing my cock in that sexy mouth of yours."
His hands gently flex and skim down the sides of my torso, slowly, as he murmurs against my throat.
"And it almost always ends the same, with me filling, overfilling your pretty little pussy with my cum."
My eyes slam shut when he grips my ass and pulls me flush against him. I can feel how hot he is, how hard he is, even through the thick denim. And instantly I'm pummeled with new visions I've never before imagined, each one sizzling over my nerve endings and supercharging my fantasies. I feel his lips graze my neck and settle behind my ear as he asks softly, quietly,
"Would you let me do that, baby? Take your mouth. Come inside you."
Oh God, the man's dirty talk should really classify as second or third base. I sink my teeth into his shoulder to keep him from hearing me moan. A sexy shudder racks his tall frame.
"Hell, do that again and we won't just be talking about our fantasies anymore, sweetheart."
I immediately squeeze my legs together, feeling my panties now soaked all the way through. His hungry gaze drops down to my clenched thighs.
Are you getting wet for me?
He asks on a growl. No point in lying. I nod. After a quick glance out the window, he stands me back up and cups his hand over my mound, hissing when I buck against his touch.
So damn responsive.
He spares another hard look out the window and says gruffly,
Just remember, this trailer isn't soundproof. Bite my shoulder again if you have to.
With no more warning than that, he unzips my jeans and slides his hand down the front of my panties. I bury my face against his neck to keep from moaning.
So fucking wet.
He circles my clit with first one finger, and then two.
Look at me, Summer.
Locking his gaze on mine, his fingers somehow bring me right to the edge with barely any effort. How in the world am I so close to coming already? It usually takes me at least a half an hour to bring myself to this point, but he's already got me panting and shaking in less than a minute. The rest of my questions get obliterated from my brain when his other hand slides up under my shirt to roughly pinch my nipple through my bra.
Come,
he commands on a growling whisper, and my body takes the order and just shatters. Pleasure explodes through my core almost violently, pulsing through me in hot, endless waves, jolting me with intense quakes of sensations over and over until I feel my legs simply give out from right under me. He catches me and cradles me against his tall frame while I attempt, mostly in vain, to drag some much-needed oxygen back into my lungs. I have no idea how long it takes for the room to stop spinning, but eventually I feel the spasms in my core begin to ease off, and the fog of pleasure dissipate into warm euphoria, bit by slow, hazy bit. I look up into his intense green gaze that never misses anything. That was the abrupt, unmistakable sound of heavy work boots clomping past the trailer outside swiftly rips us back to reality. We jump apart. I look from the unlocked door of the trailer to my open jeans, currently displaying my now thoroughly soaked fruit of the day panties. Jason's eyes follow mine, and he quickly reaches out to redo my zipper before I can. Oh my God, what if we'd gotten caught? His expression hardens, as if the same thought is occurring to him as well.
Jesus, Summer, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
No, don't apologize. I wanted you to do that. I feel my face reddening at how true that last statement was. It wasn't all you, believe me. He doesn't look convinced. Maybe if I told him that was my first non-solo orgasm? His cell phone chirps before I can share that revealing bit of info.
Shit!
He checks his phone.
I've got an investors meeting I have to get to downtown.
Downtown? As in where his big corporate office with his name on it is, one of 4 in the world just like it. A loud, window-rattling knock on the door echoes through the trailer, and we both turn to see the plumbing foreman rush in.
Summer, we've got a situation with a super old septic system that wasn't properly filled before the land was rezoned. The foundation is crap, no pun intended, because of where it was situated. Guess the previous owner thought it was okay to ignore it, but we can't. This is definitely a sinkhole hazard.
And that would be my wake-up call from the universe. I'll be right there, Frank. Jason touches my elbow gently the second Frank is gone.
Summer,
he's going to apologize again, and the thought of that is just too much to bear right now. Look, I say, you have to go and Frank's waiting for me. We'll talk later, okay? Promise. Right on cue, his phone chimes another alert. He hesitates, but eventually nods and heads out the door without another word. As I take a minute to make sure my clothes are all back in order before I exit the trailer, all I can think about is how this right here is the sort of thing my mom has done my entire life. She hated hard work. Chose instead to get through life trading sex for the basic necessities that most folks simply got a job for. A fact I'd known from far too young an age. And worst of all, she was proud of it. Proud that she could use her body to advance her way in life. I never wanted to be her. And look at me now. Logically, I know it's not the same, but it doesn't make the situation sit any better in my stomach. Story of my life. More cruel than fair at times and downright messed up at other times. As I hop in the Sight golf cart with Frank, I force myself to focus on my long list of things to do for the rest of today, instead of my long list of ways my life has gotten screwed up in the past. I'm grateful to have the former be longer than the latter for a change.
13. Jason. Wednesday. Time, 1:27 a.m. I'm losing my goddamn mind. I shouldn't have fucking touched her in the trailer. Jesus, what the hell was I thinking? I need to apologize. Fucking hit my knees to the ground and beg for her forgiveness. Only I don't want to apologize. I don't want to have to say that I regret rubbing her little clit and making her come so hard I nearly came in my pants just watching her, because I don't regret it. The very thought makes me pissed as hell, and that's the most messed up part about all of this. I fucking loved watching her come, feeling her come. I replayed it in my mind 1,000 more times throughout the day. Even now, as I'm standing here outside her loft rehearsing my apology in my head, I'm hard as hell. But the fact that I can't stop wanting her, craving her, is my problem, not hers. I could have ruined her career. If we'd gotten caught in that trailer, absolutely nothing would have happened to me. Yes, I'm her boss on this project, but she's an independent contractor, not an employee. There's no HR issue. No one would say shit about me. But they would damn sure talk shit about her. I've grown up in the trades. I know how fucking hard it is for any woman to succeed, let alone thrive to the level of success she's achieved. The absolute last thing she needs is dumbass gossip that she's sleeping with a client. She'd get labeled as a slut and lose the respect of her colleagues and her crew. And that thought is enough to make me want to punch through a wall. This is all my fault. I unclench my fist and flatten my palm against her door. It opens without me even knocking. God damn it, she's so fucking beautiful. Jace, she stops herself. Is everything okay? Security just called to tell me to check that my doorbell is working because you've been standing out here for the past few minutes. I sigh. Of course they did. I make a mental note to give them all bonuses for being so invasively observant. Sorry, they probably thought it was some sort of landlord emergency. I didn't wake you, did I? Though she's rubbing her arms nervously, she lets loose a crooked little smile at that. Have you forgotten who you're talking to? I feel my lips twitch in amusement as well. Right. Stupid question. She chews on her lower lip. Do you want to come in for a drink or something? She glances over to the old grandfather clock behind her to check the time. Guess it's probably too late for you for coffee, but I do have beer. Bad idea, Steele. Don't do it. Say what you need to say out here in the hallway. Better yet, send her a nice email. That way you won't accidentally trip and end up with your hand down her pants again. Sure, a beer sounds great. Way to go with the self-control, asshole. Once in the door, I stop her before she heads into the kitchen. Actually, forget the beer. I just came here to apologize again for what happened in the trailer. Her mouth turns down at the corners. Stop apologizing, Jason. Really, there's nothing to be sorry for. Yes, there is. We both know how bad that could have ended for you if someone caught us. She drops down onto her sofa with a sigh. I know I shouldn't care about something as trivial as gossip, but I do. Against my better judgment, I join her on the couch. Anyone would, Summer. Our reputations are our livelihood. A soft smile graces her lips. My grandfather used to say that all the time. Not surprising. Never got the chance to meet the man, but he had a hell of a reputation. That he did, she says proudly before the light in her eyes dim a bit. That's the only reason so many folks took a chance on me when I was starting out, because I was the little granddaughter of John Davis. If not for him, there's no way I'd even be where I am right now in this business. I'm practically the poster girl for nepotism. Nothing wrong with that. I can say the same thing about me. My dad paved the way, and I'm thankful for him for it. I shrug. Besides, your grandfather may have opened some doors for you, but you're the one that showed them why you deserved his backing. I remember hearing about you a long time ago. Folks talk when a girl kicks ass in the trades, especially back then. And believe me, I heard a number of times how good you were. Yes, well, I was a novelty then. She avoids my eyes and gets up to go fiddle with some old photos of her grandfather on the fireplace mantel. I bet the stuff you've heard about me recently haven't been quite so glowing. It makes me pissed that she even has to deal with this crap. That's just your competitors trying to tear you down because you're so good. I called around before I hired you. Your clients had nothing but praise for your work. Well, most of them anyway. A knowing look crosses her expression. We both know that a few of my clients are the ones talking about me as well. Hell, I fucking hate gossip. Hands down one of the stupidest human traits, if you ask me. I'm sorry you have to put up with folks talking about you behind your back. She lifts a dismissive shoulder. It's not really a big secret. I am who I am, so why hide it? I stare at her. Clearly I'm missing something. What? She asks, staring back at me too. I frown. Are we talking about the same thing? The rumors that I'm weird? No, the rumors that you were your boss's mistress in the city. Her jaw drops. What? Shit. I shoot up from the couch. It's just something I happen to hear. From a lot of friggin' folks. Could just be a small circulating rumor. Yeah, not likely. For the first time ever, Summer looks vulnerable. Hurt. And that makes me want to beat the shit out of everyone who ever repeated the rumor. Summer, it's not true, she bursts out vehemently. I don't even know who they could possibly be talking about. I should just drop the subject, but I figure she has a right to know. It was some high-rise project you did early last year? A repulsed shudder shakes her small frame. The client on that one was Chad Harrington. The guy was a jerk and pretty sleazy if you ask me. Never did see how he had such a sweet wife. She scowls. Why on earth would anyone be spreading rumors about me and Harrington? I barely talked to the guy. Yet another instance of where her surprisingly naive innocence worries me. Honey, I say gently, from what I heard, it was your client that started the rumor. Her look of disgusted shock makes me wish I knew who the hell this Harrington jackass was so I could fucking ruin him. But why would he do something like that? He's married, with a kid. Her arms wrap around her middle as if she's literally in pain. Do you think the rumors got back to his wife? His kid? His daughter was like 10, old enough to be damaged by this. She looks close to tears over the thought. Hell, she's such a sweet, gentle thing. Definitely fucking ruining the asshole. I don't know the answer to that. All I know is that he bragged about it to a bunch of guys and, well, you know how rumors go. I mean, I went to dinner with him a few times, but it was just business meetings, like the kind we have in your penthouse. She frowns. I guess he did get a little handsy once when he was tipsy, but I never really thought much about it because a lot of the construction guys I go drinking with get the same way. Which guys? I growl. They're fucking fired. She jumps. None of them on this crew. Her shoulders sag and she looks deflated. Do folks really believe I'd do that? Sleep with a married man? She looks up at me, eyes brimming with anger, humiliation. Wait, you said mistress in the city. Do you mean he was telling folks that he was like my sugar daddy or something? I don't want to tell her that her description is far milder than some of the rumors. She nods at my silence. So my colleagues don't just think I'm a slut, but also a whore. I grip her chin and grit out through my teeth. Don't ever fucking say that about yourself. She looks down. It actually explains why I heard some guys I've fired in the past call me that. Just thought they were being asses. Now I know. Her expression is so defeated, I want to yell at the universe. Men never have to worry about shit like this. It's fucking unfair. I know how good she is, but the fact that all 3 of the contractors I'd called to find out more about her lead with her reputation, and followed up with crass jokes about how she might give me the same deal as Harrington is totally fucked up. If I'd been asking around about a male project manager, no one would even mention shit like that. And crew members would never disrespect a man for something like this. "Oh no," she whispers, her gaze flying up to meet mine. "You think the guys might end up saying the same thing about us?" She backs away from me, shaking her head. We should do damage control. We'll stay away from each other as much as possible. I can get another trailer on the other side of the lot, and no more meetings outside of the job site." I glare at her like she's out of her mind, even as I feel something in my chest tug hard over her trying to protect me. "Summer, cut it out. There's no fucking need for any damage control." She freezes in place. "Oh crap, this apartment. I need to start paying you rent." She rolls her eyes. "What the heck am I talking about? I can't possibly afford this place. I'll move. ASAP. "You aren't fucking moving," I all but bellow. "But what if folks—" "It was part of your employment package." I cut in, feeling myself unraveling at the thought of her leaving. "No one will say shit about the loft." I know that's probably far too optimistic to be true, but if someone does make a comment, I'll just kick their ass to clarify the situation. "Even if it was part of my hiring contract, to be safe," I said no. "You aren't going anywhere. Now calm the fuck down." I make a concerted effort then to take my own advice. "I promise, Jason, I won't let your reputation get ruined along with mine. I promise nothing like what happened today will ever happen again." God damn it. No fucking way I'm going to be able to calm down now. I close the distance between us in 2 steps. "Don't say shit like that, Summer. Just hearing it makes me crazy." When she backs up a step and looks at me like she's going to repeat that fucked up promise again, I pull her into my arms. "You're special, Summer. I'm not going to let stupid male chauvinistic shit stop me from seeing you." Her eyes soften, and she says with a gentle smile, "I think you're special too." Thank fuck. So nothing changes. We just need to be careful. She looks skeptical at best. "It'll be fine," I insist. "I just have to learn to keep my fucking hands to myself when we're at work." Easier said than done. "Or," she says in a way that makes it clear I'm not going to like her suggestion, "we could just wait until the project is finished." Sometimes I hate when I'm right. You're suggesting we wait almost a year to pick this up again? I'm man enough to admit that I'm not strong enough to do that, not after having had her come in my arms already. She mutters something under her breath that I don't catch. The look on her face tells me it's important. "What was that?" "I said, what's one more year? For me, anyway." She shoots me a meaningful glance like I'm supposed to know what she means. I truly don't. "Summer, I know you're wanting me to get something right now, but it's going over my head. Spell it out for me, sweetheart." "I've never done that before. Not that I don't want to. Well, I didn't before, but now I do. With you, I mean. But I can still wait." She rambles on for a bit before cutting herself off and biting her lip nervously. It takes me a bit to process it all. When I finally get what she's saying, I'm admittedly not very smooth about it. "Holy fuck. How the hell is that even possible? You're so damn beautiful." She shrugs, embarrassment clear on her features. "You've met me, haven't you? I'm weird around guys outside of my own crew. I've barely even been kissed before you came along." I somehow managed to keep another holy fuck in, but I do want to make sure I get clarification on a few major details. "So in the trailer, that was the first time a man ever—" She blushes and nods. "Jesus. And you really mean it when you say that you want your first time to be with me?" More blushing and more nodding. Just like that, I feel something unlock inside me. It's fucking freeing. Her admission has a humbling, territorial, primal feeling growing inside me, and I don't fight it. No, I revel in it. And then I start advancing on her. I see the question in her eyes, and I feel the answer to her question pounding away in my chest. "What are you doing?" she asks, eyes wide with curiosity. In a thick, barely recognizable voice, I tell her exactly what I'm doing. Not waiting.
14. Summer. Wednesday. Time, 2:01 a.m., and I think my clock stopped. I swear the old grandfather clock in my living room just stopped. Like in the movies, during those dramatic moments frozen in history. I watch him get closer and closer, feel my heart attempt to burst right out of my chest.
Tell me the truth, sweetheart. Do you want to wait?
He asks, his big, calloused hands holding my face so gently, I find myself rubbing my cheek against his palm to take more of him in.
Because if you want to wait, I will. I'll wait however long you need, baby.
Well, that just makes my decision that much easier. I don't want to wait. It comes out far bolder than I expected. Go me. Taking charge of my sexuality like a boss, I go up on my tiptoes to touch my lips to his. The second his lips meet mine, sizzling hot sparks of heat rush through me. My hands find their way under his shirt to touch the hard, chiseled planes and edges of his body. As always, his skin is like a furnace, and touching him sends a tingling jolt of awareness straight to my core, lighting up every sexual nerve ending in my body until soon, even the brush of his thumbs over my nipples has me close to orgasm.
No coming yet,
he says gruffly, somehow knowing my body better than I do. His tongue flicks over the hollow at the base of my throat.
No coming until I taste you first,
he murmurs against my racing heartbeat, now thudding even harder against his lips. As was the case that morning all those weeks ago, I respond simply with, "Okay." He chuckles roughly against my skin.
That fucking word. Do you know how many times I've come in my shower replaying you say that word?
I really hope he'll tell me.
Every single morning you've barged in, Summer,
he says.
I've imagined taking you at least 1,000 different ways.
He punctuates the confession with a deep, hot kiss, somehow managing to undo all the buttons on my shirt without me even realizing it.
Usually, we're in my living room, and you've got your hands and tits up against the door you love knocking on so much, one leg hooked over my arm, and me driving into you so fucking deep from behind.
Good Lord, at this rate I may very well come before he even touches me.
My favorite fantasy, lately,
he continues, his voice a gritty, raspy rumble,
is of you laid out on my countertop, taking my cock into your mouth, while I finger fuck a 6 or so orgasms out of you.
His lips crash onto mine then, with an all-new heat, a new intensity that just blazes hotter when he parts my shirt and palms my breasts. Pinching both of my nipples, he groans and pushes his tongue past my lips, making me near mindless and seconds away from coming. And then he stops, leaving my entire body on fire. In the spirit of taking control of my de-virginizing, I reach over to unbuckle his belt. The jarring clink of the buckle echoes in the quiet room like an opened shackle. His arms wrap around me like a steel band, stopping me from going any further.
No, baby. I won't have the strength to stop if you touch me.
When I frown in disappointment, he makes it up to me by winding a fist in my hair gently, tugging it just enough. The perfect amount of strain and tension pull and pressure to make my pussy throb in time with my speeding heartbeat. That's when he slides his hands over my ass and lifts me, pressing my core right up against his massive hard-on as he carries me over to the bedroom. The new pressure between my legs sends shockwaves of pleasure through me with every step he takes, and he knows it, the evil, evil man. By the time he lays me down on my bed, I'm panting and already parting my thighs for him. Smiling in a positively wicked way, he kneels down and grazes his lips against the top of my mound as he says, "Open wider for me, sweetheart. Let me see you before I taste you." Oh, God, I have a hard time believing I'll ever be more turned on in my life. I open wider. His fingers gently stroke over the seam of my panties, but instead of putting his mouth on me just yet, he pulls the cloth of my panties tight and blows on my clit. My legs start to shake. Eventually, he puts me out of my misery and slides a single finger along my pussy, muttering roughly, "Fuck, you're wet." That he sounds ragged and strained is the only balm easing my frustration. "Jason, please." Apparently that word really is magic because I feel something pretty freaking magical bursting through me when he slowly slides 2 fingers into me while rubbing my clit with his thumb. The relief I feel is almost overwhelming. The pleasure, all-consuming. "Jesus, fuck, you're tight." His face dips between my legs, and I very nearly pass out when I feel his tongue start lapping away at my wet heat. "You're almost ready for me to take you," he whispers against me. "But first, I'm going to suck on you here." He licks my clit. "Until you come on my face." I feel his lips wrap around my swelling clit as he lifts my legs and puts them both over his shoulders. "Grab onto the sheets, sweetheart, because I'm going to fuck this tight, wet little pussy with my tongue for a little while." His mouth latches onto my pussy and I immediately see stars. It's all I can do not to black out. The pleasure is so intense, a whole body mass of sensations. Honestly, I'm not sure how much more I can take, how much more I need. Thankfully, Jason does. He starts pumping a third thick finger deep inside of me before sucking my swollen clit into his mouth, hard. And every last one of my thoughts goes scattering into oblivion, his name wrung out of me over and over as I go flying over the edge.
15. Jason. Wednesday. Time, T-0 if I'm not careful. Jesus, watching Summer come apart is without a doubt the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm now well and truly addicted. Gently cupping her soft mound, I press the heel of my palm against her clit as I move my mouth over to nuzzle the curve of her neck. Just as sweet as the rest of her. Ready for round 2, baby? Her eyes fly wide open when I slide 2 fingers inside her. Hell, she's even tighter now that she's come once, her pussy walls swollen, wetter and hotter than before. Once I have her full attention again, I begin whispering the dirtiest, filthiest fantasies I've been having in her ear, detailing it all for her while she squirms. I meant what I said. I want to take her in every possible way, every possible position. I want her to crave me as much as I crave her. "You're coming for me one more time," I tell her. At her incredulous gasp that sounds part moan, part grumble, I chuckle and wrap my hands around her ankles so I can pull her to the edge of the bed and spread her thighs apart. I want to bury my face in her until she comes in my mouth one more time, until I have her wet enough so I can take her without hurting her. Not today, though. But soon. Even as I make that vow, which I'm going to goddamn hold myself to if it kills me, the reminder that I'm the first man to touch her this way, that I'll be the first man to slide into her perfect virgin pussy, makes me fucking leak pre-cum again. But I stay the course. I work my tongue in teasing little circles round her clit, forcing her moans to a higher decibel, wilder, less restrained than those quiet, breathy little moans and whimpers she was making earlier. This is what I want. To break Summer of that tameness she uses to keep herself in check. She's the same way on the job site. Tempered at all times, even when I know there's a whole bunch of cute craziness teeming inside of her. This is going to be my new hobby. I've decided. Some guys golf. Me, I'm going to spend all my free time making Summer come as often as she'll let me. And I tell her as much as I stroke my tongue over her hot, swelling clit. Her hands all but shred the bedsheets. Oh my God, Jason, I'm going to... A fucking flood of her juices fill my mouth, and it takes everything I have not to come in my fucking pants. I keep lapping at her, holding her firm while her clit pulses against my tongue. When her body goes boneless, I trail soft, gentle kisses up her torso, making my way back up to her lips. I should go, I say quietly against her mouth as I tuck her in under her blanket. What? She looks like she's swimming in quicksand as she tries to summon the energy to get back up. She is not successful, which makes me pleased as fuck. You can't just... She gestures weakly in the air between us as if she can't find the words. Eat your pussy? I supply, and her cheeks blaze red. And then leave, she says with feeling. You just keep giving me these drive-by orgasms without letting me do anything to you. I chuckle. Christ, this woman and her friggin' cuteness. Sweetheart, I'd love nothing more than to stay and let you have your wicked way with me, but I have to leave for the airport. Business trip, remember? China? For 1 week? Oh, right, she sighs disappointedly. Wait, she glances over at the clock on her nightstand. Shouldn't you be at the airport already? I'm going to have to book it over there now. Do you need a ride? I smile. No, I always park my truck at the airport so I can go straight over to meetings and things as soon as I land. Oh, she tilts her head at me curiously. Do you travel in your own Billionaire jet? I never asked you all the other times you flew out. Laughing, I shake my head. No, I always fly commercial. Can't justify the cost of a private plane, especially not for these international flights. Plus, there are more cities and flight times if I go commercial. Makes sense, she says. I've never gone anywhere outside of the country. Really, I just have my passport for government contracts. Now that she's no longer in her post-orgasmic haze, she's back to her usual chatty self, and winding all that long, gorgeous hair back up in a quick knot atop her head that leaves a few locks sticking up every which way. It's fucking adorable. She props her chin up on her knees to watch as I rebuckle my belt and straighten out my clothes. Is your plane going to have those personal pod seats? In the first-class section, yes, but I'm flying business class. With how much I have to travel, the difference in expense adds up. I could fund 10 more full college scholarships a year with the money. I shrug. So I do. She smiles. God, you really are a saint? I puzzle over that. Who calls me a saint? Stoic grouch is much more appropriate. I do. To anyone who asks, you're easily the most giving person I know. I'm not a saint, Summer. I'm not sure why I want her to be clear on that, but I do. I occasionally splurge on things. At each of my different cabins, I've got way more modes of transportation than a person needs. A couple of motorcycles, ATVs, boats, that sort of thing. You have cabins? As in plural? I can't help but smile over that. Summer is just such a refreshing change of pace. Most women I meet already have a stalker file of all my assets. I've got 3 cabins in the U.S. The one I spend the most time at is actually not too far from our job site. Oh. She's like a curious little kitten, this one. And there's another question brewing in there, I can see it. Go ahead and ask. I've got a few more minutes. No, it's none of my business. I just wait her out. From my experience, questions don't exactly stay bottled up in Summer for very long. She breaks a second later. Okay, I was just going to ask why you don't stay at your cabin if it's close to our job site. Instead of answer right away, I ask her a question of my own. Would you stay at the cabin if it were closer than the penthouse? Actually, she chuckles, I'd probably pick the cabin even if it were farther away. A woman after my own heart. I would too. In fact, I used to stay at the cabin more than my loft in the city. That is, until I discovered my new tenant was an adorably sexy insomniac who had this cute habit of knocking on my door in the middle of the night. She blushes. Sorry about that. I drop a kiss on her lips. Don't be. I'm not. My phone chimes and I really can't ignore this last alert. Sweetheart, as much as it pains me to dine and dash on you, I grin as her cheeks burn an adorable bright red. I really do have to head over to the airport. I'll have my cell phone throughout the entire trip, so call me if you can't sleep. As long as I'm not in a meeting, I'll answer. You don't have to do that, she says softly. I don't ever make offers I have to, just ones I want to. Trust me, talking to you will likely be the highlight of my days there. I pull her in for one final kiss and make one parting request before I go. Request, demand, tomato, tomato. No touching yourself this week unless you're on the phone with me. Deal?
16. Summer. Sunday. Time 8:35 a.m. All week Jason held firm on his demand. So far we've video chatted 5 times during his trip, and in each call, he's made sure to talk me through at least one orgasm, usually 2. As a result, interestingly enough, I found myself sleeping better than I ever have in my life. Today, though, I'm determined not to fall asleep on him right after coming my brains out. It's Sunday morning for me, meaning it's late at night in China. Perfect timing. I text him to see if he's gone to bed yet. My cell rings almost immediately. Hi, I answer the video call, doing my best to quell my nervousness.
Hey, sweetheart.
He sounds tired, which has me rethinking my grand plan for the call. That is, until he asks,
Are you wearing your strawberry panties this morning? Or the pineapples?
I shake my head. No panties this morning. That makes him look loads more awake on the screen.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm, I reply casually. Speaking of which, I've been meaning to ask. You remember how you told me that I couldn't touch myself without you on the phone?
Yes,
he says, his tone now intense. What if I did touch myself before you called? Would there be, say, a consequence for said hypothetical action? His eyes flare with heat, and his chiseled jaw goes granite hard. Oh, wow, this is getting fun.
Did you touch yourself, Summer?
He asks in a deceptively calm voice. Instead of answer, I angle my phone camera lower.
Fucking hell.
Good Lord, I love it when he starts losing control. Knowing my face is probably as red as a lobster right now, I keep the phone pointed downward on what my fingers are currently doing. The sound of his belt hitting the floor is pure music to my ears. How many drive-by orgasms have you given me now, you think? I ask, breathless but determined.
A few dozen at least, he murmurs, sounding wholly distracted. Always the best part of my day.
Really, the man says the sweetest things. Well, I want my turn to do that for you, I say, as I slip 2 fingers deep inside of me to show him just how wet I am already. His resulting groan rips over the phone line. You don't have to say anything, I say. Just watch. Since acting isn't even a remote forte of mine, I rely on all the hot, vivid memories I have of Jason making me come to help me through this. Highly effective plan, I discover. I shut my eyes and can almost feel his hands running over my breasts, teasing my nipples to stiff peaks as he whispers his trademark, wicked, dirty talk in my ear. I imagine it's his fingertips instead of mine, touching my wet slit, his slick fingers sliding in and out of me. Before I know it, I'm lost in the fantasy of his tongue stroking my swelling clit, alternating between sucking it hard and grazing it with his teeth. The sound of his harsh, strained breathing over the phone line has me rubbing my clit harder, faster, until my entire body is nearly shaking with pleasure. In my mind, he's stroking his cock to the same rhythm, with the same urgency, and holy hell, that image has me close to coming already. But without Jason's dirty talk, it's just not the same.
Fuck yourself with your fingers, baby. Get yourself ready for when I get back.
His voice hardens to a tense growl.
Imagine it's my cock sliding in and out of your slick, hot pussy.
When I open my eyes to see him pumping his cock on the screen, I ask softly, "Just my pussy?"
Fucking hell, Summer. Are you saying you're going to let me have your mouth when I come home? Tell me.
Yes, I'm reduced down to one-word replies. Jason has no such problem.
That'll make me come, sweetheart. Are you going to let me come in your mouth or in that tight pussy?
I'm unable to answer, because the very thought of him coming anywhere inside me has me shattering into pieces, my orgasm so intense I scream out his name as pulses of wet heat rip through me. He groans. I'm out of breath, but not too far gone to ask him a question of my own. Are you going to do all these dirty things you keep telling me anytime soon? His voice sounds on edge, but still unwavering.
I told you, we don't have to rush this. We can wait. Your first time is a big deal.
And I'm ready, I say, 100% certain. His breathing sounds labored.
Fucking hell. I'm so hard it almost hurts.
Because you're thinking about taking my virginity.
Jesus Christ, stop, Summer.
After all the torture he's put me through, I can't help but smile, which prompts a groaning chuckle from him.
You're evil, woman, and I'm going to make you pay as soon as I get home.
Promises, promises. Suddenly, his smile goes wicked, and now I'm a teeny bit worried.
Remember how you asked me what consequences there'd be for touching yourself without me on the phone, baby?
I feel my breathing start to thin.
Since you asked so nicely, I'll tell you,
he says, his voice lowering to a deep, sexy, commanding timbre.
After I make you come in my mouth at least 2 times, more likely 3, I'm going to rub my cock all over your hard little clit until you come all over me. Then, and only then, will I let myself come.
His harsh, rumbling tone turns positively primal.
All over your wet slit to mark it as mine.
Oh, my God.
But before I come,
he growls,
I'll have you take me in that sexy mouth of yours so you'll be able to taste yourself on me. Taste how fucking sweet you are, why I'm so damn addicted to making you come.
By this point, I'm a trembling mess, strung out like an addict overdosing on vivid, dirty, overstimulating sex images. And that's when he just stops. Just like in every phone call we've had this week, the maddening man simply takes in a deep, shuddering breath and zips himself back up without joining me in post-orgasm land. The stubborn ass. I'd been so sure I'd be the one to give him a drive-by this time.
I told you at the start of this week,
he says, as if reading my mind.
I'm not coming again until I'm there with you, which will be in roughly,
he checks his watch,
38 hours.
17. Summer. Tuesday. Time, exactly 38 hours later. Jason isn't simply eating my pussy. He's downright feasting on it. And after 2 crazy intense orgasms in a row, he's effectively turned my legs to jello. I'm ready to collapse. But instead of taking pity on my poor, exhausted pussy, he simply relocates me, laying me down flat on the ottoman like a virgin sacrifice, before spreading my legs wide and dipping his head back down to continue right where he left off.
You have only yourself to blame, sweetheart,
he says simply before leisurely sucking my clit into his mouth. Feeling my legs start to tremble in earnest, as he increases the pressure and starts in on round 3, I babble, I plead, I argue that there's no way in the world I'll be able to come again. He ignores me. Some long, torturous minutes later, a flood of wetness gushes out of me, accompanied shortly after by a low, deep groan from him. It's only then that I realize I've been gripping his cock and mindlessly stroking it while he's been making me come with his mouth. And just like that, all my zapped energy is back. I somehow manage to quell my embarrassment and shift onto my side so I can lick the head of his cock while he's still licking me. His thighs harden to granite, and his hips arch into me, sending his shaft sliding past my lips. Once, twice, he quickly pulls himself out.
I won't be able to control myself if you keep this up.
Good, I reply shyly, running my tongue along his entire throbbing length.
You don't want me to lose control, baby, not now.
I gently squeeze the base of his cock and suck on the broad tip before answering. It's not about control. It's about me wanting you to... I feel my face flush, but somehow I manage to pull up my big girl panties and boldly go where I've never gone before. I want you to fuck my mouth like you said you would, while you go. Who am I kidding? I can't finish that sentence out loud. Jason spears his hand through my hair and locks his gaze on mine.
Are you telling me you want to give me head while I suck on your clit? Fuck your pussy with my tongue?
Oh, my God. Instead of answer in actual coherent words, an impossible expectation at this point, I slip my lips over his cock again and simply nod. He groans and pushes himself deeper until he's nudging my throat. Then he shifts his stance so he's able to run his tongue over the lips of my pussy and lap at my clit while he shuttles his shaft in and out of my mouth. I last almost 3 whole seconds before I find myself moaning uncontrollably around his hard cock. I can't control it, not with him thrusting his tongue and cock into me at the same time. The combined assault quickly throws me over the edge. My pussy convulses hard, and I feel my brain whiting out as a blinding orgasmic tidal wave crashes into me before I promptly pass out. I barely even register that he's carrying me to my bed until I feel the soft mattress underneath me. My eyelids are heavy as I blink up at him slowly. He's kissing his way gently up my body as he climbs over me, his intense green eyes watching me intently.
You sure you're ready for this, sweetheart?
He asks, as he gently rocks his erection against my core. Oh, it's finally time. That's what all this was for. I feel my heart swell in my chest in belated understanding. I nod then and hold onto his biceps as he positions himself at my entrance and begins rubbing the head of his cock gently against my clit. Suddenly he stops with a harsh, heartfelt curse.
Damn it! I forgot to grab some condoms.
He actually looks surprised by that fact. I'm admittedly only half listening, because he's still rubbing my clit with the hot, hard head of his cock.
Shit, Summer, you're soaking my dick.
He shifts and starts sliding the entire length of his shaft against me now, drenching him from base to tip. With a groan, he stops himself again.
I should really go get a condom.
He really doesn't sound like he wants to. And to be honest, the thought of him leaving in the middle of this to go get a condom seems highly unnecessary. I am on the pill, I inform him then. We don't have to use one, unless you want to. He stills. But even though his eyes are glazing over with hunger, his expression looks conflicted. I'm puzzled. I'd always heard that it feels better for guys without a condom.
Taking you bareback.
His cock pulses between my legs. But again his eyes cloud with doubt as if he's struggling with the entire notion.
It's just, I've never not used a condom before.
And that's when it all clicks together. Of course he hasn't. What billionaire would have sex with someone without a condom? Have I learned nothing from my own birth? The reminder that I was my mother's failed attempt at a get-rich blackmailing scheme is a sobering splash of ice-cold water. I sit up immediately and cover myself with the blankets. Sorry, I don't know what I was thinking, I say, embarrassed. I'll wait while you get the condoms. A look of concern crosses his features.
What just happened?
He cups my cheek.
What's going on in that head of yours, sweetheart?
There's no way I can tell him. Of all the things my mother has made me ashamed of throughout our lives, her getting knocked up with me to try and squeeze some money from some random rich guy tops the list. Most kids simply get yelled at when they annoy their parents. Me, I got punished with the truth behind my conception. And the older I got, the more detailed she got. She made sure I knew that she'd never actually wanted me, that I should be grateful that she kept me even when the man who thought she was on contraceptives, because she'd told him she was, refused to pay more than a measly 10 grand to make us both go away. I hate that the whole thing has the power to affect me still.
Talk to me, Summer.
I'm sorry, I whisper, shoving back the tears. I ruined the mood just now, didn't I?
Forget about that.
He gathers me in his arms and cuddles me close.
Do you want to tell me what's wrong?
Strangely, I do. But not now. Not like this. Another time, I promise. He nods and just continues to hold me. I'm sorry I got all caught up in my head, I say, frowning, wholly upset at myself for screwing up our perfect night so badly.
You don't have anything to apologize for. I'm the one who should be sorry for forgetting the condoms. Seems like that was the trigger.
Stroking his hand down my back, he adds quietly,
For what it's worth, I didn't mean anything by the condom thing. I wasn't hesitating because
you didn't trust I was telling the truth about being on the pill? I finish for him. He sighs.
I swear, that thought never crossed my mind. Not with you.
But it's a reality you have to be careful of, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
I slip my hand into his and rest my head against his chest. People suck sometimes. A chuckle ripples out of him.
Yes. Sometimes they do.
He shifts against me, and I'm surprised, or shocked more like, to feel his erection still going strong. You're still...
Hard?
He supplies helpfully.
Yes, well, you're still a virgin. I'm not so sure the status of the first is going to change until the status of the second does as well.
My face heats bright red. Oh, that makes sense. I just thought with my meltdown and all that you'd be turned off to the whole thing.
Nope. I'm a guy. It takes kind of a lot to turn it off after we're turned on, he informs me with a grin. And honey, when I'm around you, hard is sort of my cock's default.
I'm not sure I should be finding this whole talk so darn romantic, but I really do. You mean you still want to? Tonight? I feel the muscles of his torso tense.
Do you still want to?
Yes, I whisper.
Breathe, baby.
After kissing me senseless for a good 10 minutes, Jason spent at least another 10 minutes making me come again. And again. I am thus now dripping wet, and still only able to take half his huge cock inside me. I can tell this isn't easy for him either. His breathing is severely labored, his eyes wild with lust, and every muscle in his body looks corded with strain. But he's being so gentle, so careful, even while his entire frame continues to vibrate with tension as he rocks gently against me, easing his cock into me inch by slow, gradual inch. Truthfully, I'm seriously starting to question the mechanical logistics of it all. Jason, I think you're too big, I manage to gasp out after he somehow manages to work in another impossibly thick inch.
No, I'm not. Just try to relax,
he says, though his own voice sounds anything but. He circles his thumb around my clit, and I gasp, almost entirely out of breath, as I feel him slide in another few hard inches.
Hold on to me, sweetheart.
With pain and worry etched into his features, he kisses me deeply, tenderly for a long second before driving the rest of the way into me in one long, smooth thrust. Oh, God, it's too much. Too hard, and I feel like I'm going to split at the seams. Not knowing what else to do, I dig my fingernails into his back, fighting back the tears.
I'm so sorry, Summer,
he whispers raggedly, sounding even more tortured than I feel.
Do you want me to stop?
Surprisingly, I find myself shaking my head. With each passing second, the pain is subsiding. Even though it still hurts, there's pleasure buried right under the surface as well. I just can't seem to reach it, but I don't want to stop trying. Keep going, please. Lips fuse to mine. He begins gently thrusting into me again. It still hurts, but not so much that I can't register how incredible it now feels to have him filling me so deeply. Really incredible. I wrap my legs around his waist and press my hips against his.
Fuck, slow down, baby, I don't want to hurt you.
I can barely hear him. All I can focus on is the feel of his cock pumping into me. But I don't want it gentle anymore. I need the friction, the force. I'm breathless, though, so unable to ask. All I can do is dig my nails into his back and arch into him, silently beg for more.
Damn it, Summer.
Flush against me, filling me to the hilt. His arms are locked with tension as he stares down at me, his eyes a combination of concern and undiluted lust. Harder, Jason, please. I can't put into words what it is I need, and I feel my pussy starting to pulse in frustration around his thick shaft. A low, heartfelt groan rumbles out of him.
I can't hold back anymore.
His forehead drops against mine as he mutters thickly,
I need to come.
Come inside me, I whisper, and I feel him tense. That's when he starts fucking me. His hands find mine and pin them beside my head.
Tight, perfect pussy.
He growls between thrusts, driving into me harder, deeper, his strokes growing less and less controlled with each passing second.
Come for me, baby. Now, baby, so I can feel you coming while I fill you up with my cum.
That's all it takes to make me explode. My pussy spasms around him, and his mouth fuses over mine almost ruthlessly as he plunges into me one last time. I feel a flood of warmth as he spills his cum inside me, his mouth buried against my throat, licking, sucking between murmured words I'm too far gone to understand. I'm not sure how long I float around in my head after my orgasm melts away, but it's a nice place to be. Peaceful. I feel Jason snuggle me in closer. But one look at his face tells me he's out, fully asleep, and doing it out of pure instinct. It occurs to me then that after all this time over the past few months, I've actually never seen him asleep until now. It's soothing. I curl in bed against him, and for the first time, in a really long time, my brain just feels calm, content, and I drift off to sleep in his arms.
18. Jason. Wednesday. Time. My sexy little insomniac's witching hour. I'm slowly waking up, and even without opening my eyes, I know it's still dark out. The fact that I'm getting woken up at this ungodly hour must mean it's around 3 a.m. Over the past few months, I've noticed that 3 a.m. is when Summer's insomnia hits the most. It's now my new favorite time of day. I can't sleep, she whispers. I see. I don't mean that literally, seeing as how I still have my eyes closed. Part of me is worried this is all a sexy dream with Summer straddling my legs in bed with me as she gives me the best hand job I've ever gotten. So you're rubbing my cock to help you go back to sleep? Because I am totally on board with this newfangled sleep therapy method you're trying. She laughs softly. That's very big of you. Now you're just making me blush, I tease. I wouldn't say it's very big. She squeezes my shaft. I have a slightly achy pussy that would argue otherwise. Hell, I love it when she talks dirty in that shy voice of hers. Yeah, the pitch-black darkness thing isn't working for me anymore. I want to see her blushing while she says all these sweetly filthy things to me. I reach over to turn on the lamp on my nightstand and feel my cock start to throb as I gaze over every inch of her sleek, sexy torso. So fucking beautiful. With both of her hands on my chest, her ripe little breasts are on full display for me, but just out of reach. Come down.
As this quiet moment unfolds, let the soft music guide your thoughts into a calmer space before the story returns.
Down here. Let me suck on your nipples. No, she says, covering her breasts with one arm. That grabs my attention. No. Hell, why does her being all assertive in bed have me even harder? No, she repeats firmly. Because if you do, you're going to give me another drive-by orgasm, and it's my turn. I'm not letting you distract me this time. I want you to come in my mouth. My eager dick pulses in overwhelming favor of that idea. When she sees that I'm starting to leak pre-cum, she scoots down to lick it away with one clean swipe of her tongue. Definitely not going to let you keep me from that anymore, she says boldly, all sugar and sass, before wrapping her hand around my base and sucking as much of my cock as she can into her mouth. Jesus Christ, Summer. Her lips ease back then and begin moving up and down my shaft slowly, as if she's savoring the feel of it, committing it to memory. Good. She needs to memorize it, savor it, because it's the last fucking cock she's ever going to feel. The only one, I remind myself, and feel my cock growing another hard inch over the primitive thought. With her firm, tight fist pumping my shaft, she closes her lips around the head of my cock and begins sucking harder. Damn it. If she keeps this up, I'm going to cum all over her face, coat those full, lush lips with my cum. The thought of that is sexy as hell, vivid enough to make me... Holy fuck. And now she's deep-throating me. That's it, I'm at my limit. I try and warn her, not with words because I'm positive nothing coherent will come out of me, but something else will unless she stops. I tug on her hair just a little to try and get my message across, but she just moans in pleasure with my cock lodged deep in her throat. And I'm done. Over. I come so fucking hard in her mouth I black out for a beat. When I come to a moment later, I find her looking up at me with those big blue eyes, while she swallows everything I'm giving her. Hell, I'm going to have to limit how often I tell her to do this to me because the room is seriously fucking spinning right now. Without a doubt, the best blowjob of my life. And it gets rudely interrupted by my damn ringing cell phone. I swear I almost throw the damn thing against the wall. But I don't because I know the call is important. China, I say simply, checking the screen for confirmation. Her eyes pop wide in embarrassment, and she practically flies through the air to go run off to the bathroom. Don't answer that phone until I'm out of the room, she demands, her shyness reaching an all-time high on the adorable as fuck scale. It's not a video call, I inform her fast retreating form. I don't care, I can't be naked and licking your cum off my lips while you're talking on the phone with China. Her cuteness is going to get her good and fucked again, I decide. Meanwhile, my cell keeps ringing. At the sound of the shower starting, I'm now well and truly torn. Take the call or take the girl. I hate doing it, but I answer the call and head to my den on the other side of the loft to boot up my computer. The China deal is a hugely lucrative one, and one that's going to involve a lot more travel on my part over the next year, unfortunately. I hate the thought of that, of being away from Summer so much. Even now, just knowing she's showering without me, I'm irritable as hell talking to my foreign investors. But the deal is one we've worked long and hard for. Speaking of long and hard, I can honestly say this is the first time I've had even a semi-hard-on in my office den. I don't think I'll be repeating the experience. Already in the last few minutes, I've had to reach down to pick up the wireless mouse 4 times, since I keep inadvertently batting it off my desk with my dick. I hear a thoroughly amused chuckle from out in the hall and turn to see Summer peeking in, wrapped only in a towel. The mouse falls down to the floor again. She waves and I can't tell if she's saying hi or goodbye. The mere thought that it could be the latter makes me stalk after her. Gentlemen, I say into my cell phone, something just came up. No pun intended. Email me what you have so far and I'll review it and set up a formal phone conference for tomorrow. I don't bother to hear their response before I cut the phone call. When I walk out, sure enough, I see Summer heading over to the front door in nothing but that towel. Where are you going? Back to my place, she answers, grabbing her bag as well. Would it be okay for me to hang on to this towel? I'll wash it and return it tomorrow. You can't go down the fire escape stairwell in only a towel. It'll be fine, she argues, looking down at it. It looks like a strapless white dress. The security guys won't know. Oh, they'll know. And then I'll have to fire them all. Why are you even going back to your place at all? Just crash here. We can have breakfast in a few hours. I make great eggs. She gives me an unsure look. But I'm wide awake already, and you probably want to get some sleep. She blushes. I'm sorry about waking you up earlier. I'm not. And that's the truth. Having Summer wake me up is actually becoming somewhat of a treat for me. One I can't ever predict or plan for, and one I enjoy all the more immensely as a result. Come on back to bed with me, I say. There's a TV in there. I have just about every channel so you can watch something while I sleep. Or, I add ever so magnanimously, we could both not sleep and do something else. Like what? She asks shyly. I reach her in 3 strides and pick her up to carry her back to the bedroom. All the while, she continues to try and dissuade me. Are you sure? I know how tired you are. It's already so late. If I leave now, you can still get a few good hours of sleep in. Stop talking about leaving, Summer. It's fucking with my head. I gently let her down so she's kneeling on the bed, facing away from me. With one hand on her back, I murmur into her ear roughly. Elbows down. When she complies without a word, I feel myself losing control faster. Wider. Slide your knees out, wider. I flex my fingers into the rounded cheeks of her perfect ass, now right in front of my face. I know I sound like a caveman right now, but I can't help it. I didn't like the thought of her leaving. Not one fucking bit. I see her glance back at me, eyes wide, teeth gnawing on her lower lip. Panting. Fucking hell, she's so perfect. Don't you dare close your legs while I'm eating your pussy. That's the only warning I give her before I bury my face in her tight, wet slit. I don't let up once, not until she's coming hard and fast in my mouth and chanting my name with every breath she exhales. That's when I finally flip her onto her back so I can push my very patient, very stiff cock into her slick, swollen pussy. And with the tail end of her little aftershocks convulsing around my shaft, it only takes me a dozen or so hard, deep strokes before I'm coming inside her. She's practically overflowing with my cum before I'm even done pumping into her. When I'm finally drained, literally and figuratively, I roll onto my back, pulling her on top of me. I know I should be a gentleman and clean her up, but I can't fucking let go of her, so instead I just cuddle her in close. A few seconds later, I feel her sharp intake of breath. What's wrong, baby? I feel her face heat against my chest. At her continued silence, I slide my hand through her hair to tilt her blushing face up to me. Tell me. Her breath catches again just as I feel her hips shift. Your cum is running down my thighs, she says, her voice a hushed whisper. Holy fuck. Now I'm hardening all over again. Damn it, Summer, if you want us to get any sleep at all tonight, you can't say stuff like that to me. I punctuate that decree with a slow, deep slide into her steaming hot pussy, currently still filled to the brim with my cum and hers. It isn't until I'm fully seated that I feel her body gradually start relaxing. Summer? Are you falling asleep on me? I chuckle. So I guess no more insomnia for you tonight? She doesn't even make it to the end of my sentence before she's asleep completely. Hell, if I'd known hot, mind-blowing sex was what it'd take to make my little insomniac sleep, I would have taken her months ago. Huh. Maybe she's right about my saintliness.
19. Summer. Wednesday. Time 6:09 a.m. I open my eyes and stretch under the covers, blushing when I feel my body aching over last night's festivities. Mid-stretch, I bolt upright and nearly fall out of bed when it registers how much sunlight is filtering in through the windows. No! A quick glance at the clock confirms that I'm going to be late for work. Again. Shit, of all the irresponsible... I shuck off the comforter and race to find some clothes. Whoa! Hold on, sweetheart. Jason catches me around the waist and lifts me clear off the floor, chuckling when my feet continue to pedal in the air like a cartoon character. As much as I love seeing you running around naked, and I really do, you don't have to panic. You're not late for work. But I rescheduled our meeting with the engineer to this afternoon and asked Jack to handle the men for us until lunch. He smiles and kisses me behind the ear as he adds, "Figured you and I could take a morning off for once. Since I know neither of us has actually done that before, I thought it'd be nice for us to try it together." I blink up at him, certain I misheard him. "You want us to play hooky for the morning?" Sounds even better when you say it. He gently tosses me back onto the bed and covers my body with his, which I'm only now noticing is clad only in a towel. Such a good look for the man. Before we can start all the hooky having fun, however, the email alert on my phone chimes. "It can wait a few hours," he says. If only I could let it go that easily. Trust me, Jason, if I don't answer now, I'll be imagining every possible worst-case scenario the entire time, regardless of how well you distract me. That sounds a whole lot like a challenge. His eyes light up like I just told him Christmas is coming early this year, before he grabs my phone off the nightstand and quickly burrows under the covers, dragging me along with him. Well, the lower half of me at least. "Jason, what are you—" "Oh." I feel him part my legs, and then prop my phone up against the inside of my knee as he murmurs against my pussy, "Remember how you told me the other night that you thought I was a master multitasker?" Does he really expect me to answer right now? That's the best I can do. Impressive considering he has 2 fingers sliding in and out of me at the moment. "Since you're worried about work," he says from somewhere deep between my legs, "I'm going to eat your pussy and read you your email at the same time. All you have to do," he sucks my clit into his mouth, "is not come." When my hips buck, I feel his smile against my inner thigh. "If you continue to move around this much, I'm afraid I won't be able to read you your—" He halts, and then pushes the covers back to give me a turbulent, unreadable look. Having been pretty darn close to what I'm pretty sure is the first of many orgasms this morning, my brain is way too fuzzy to process why he stopped. I sober in an instant, however, when I see what he's looking at. "Oh my God!" My cheeks go up in flames and I make a lunge for my phone. "Don't look at that!" Even more storm clouds roll across his features, but still he doesn't say a word. He simply holds my phone out of my reach and stares at me intently. "Jason, please, don't look at that!" His expression hardens. "You don't want me to see this?" I shake my head, embarrassed beyond belief. "I see," he says, before calmly resuming the slow finger-fucking he'd been giving me earlier. Oh no, the man is going to torture me. One step ahead of me, he thwarts my attempt at escape and pins me down with a single brawny forearm against my belly. "Tell me something, sweetheart," he says, as he begins ruthlessly grinding his palm against my clit. "If you don't want me to see this very pretty, very naked photo of you on your phone, am I to assume this photo is meant for someone else's viewing pleasure?" I gasp, partly because of what he's doing, but mostly because of what he's accusing me of. "Get off of me!" I growl then, dead freaking seriously. His dark look is swept away for a moment by a look of surprise. I wrap the blanket around me and jerk away from him. "I'm not cheating on you if that's what you're implying." "Thank fuck," he says, pulling me back into his arms. Relief clear and unfiltered, transforms his features, but not before I see the questions and touch of vulnerability buried in his gaze.
Jesus, Summer, I thought...
At the throbbing anguish in his voice, my anger dissolves as quickly as it came. I took the photo while you were in China. I blush at the mere memory of the awkward self-photo session, but I chickened out of sending it to you. Leaning back to look into his eyes, I add quietly, I would never do anything like what you were imagining, Jason. I understand why you'd go there, but from now on I'd appreciate you giving me the benefit of the doubt. He sighs harshly.
Logically, I know you're not that kind of person. And in my heart, I know that too, but I swear, in that moment just now, I felt my heart ripping out of my chest and my brain separating from my body.
His forehead drops to mine.
All I could think about was finding the other guy who might get to see that photo and ripping his goddamn eyes out.
It takes another few seconds for the tension to slowly ebb out of him.
I'm sorry I accused you of that. I know that's not you.
It's okay. I admit it looked bad. The situation, that is. The photo just looked ridiculous. I should have deleted it right away. I reach for my phone to do just that. This time, Jason's the one who leans back to give me an incredulous look.
Are you fucking kidding? That's the sexiest damn photo I've ever seen.
He brings the photo back up on the screen, and I bury my face against his chest to hide from the photo I'd taken of myself naked from the waist up on the bed. Seriously, I look ridiculous. A model, I am not. And since I failed selfie photo taking 101, I'm not looking anywhere near the camera either.
Can I have it? He asks. Only if you're comfortable with me having it, of course.
Well, since he's already seen the live show, okay. As if fearing I may change my mind, Jason quickly takes my phone and does some kind of voodoo phone touching thing to get the photo transferred to his cell. Seconds later, it's done.
Safer than texting,
he says simply as he thumbs through his screen to find the newly transferred photo.
Fuck,
he says as he stares at it on his phone.
If I wasn't worried about every guy I know drooling all over this photo, I'd make this my screensaver.
His gaze goes from the photo to me.
You're so fucking beautiful, Summer.
God, he makes me feel it. After making sure the photo is backed up on his phone, seemingly in a couple different places, he hovers his thumb over the delete button on my phone.
Are you sure you want it gone for good?
Yes, please. When I see the photo vanish into cyberdust, I sigh with relief. He smiles as he looks from me to the photo, now exclusively on his phone.
You are seriously the sexiest little thing I've ever laid eyes on, woman.
I almost can't believe how turned on he looks. I mean, I get it, it's a naked photo, but still, the way he's looking at it, you'd think I was the world's greatest centerfold. Finally, I break down to look over his shoulder, thinking maybe I'll see something magical to warrant his undivided lust. Perhaps a double rainbow with 2 pots of gold on my boobs. There is no rainbow. In fact, there are also no boobs. He cropped everything but my face out.
Told you it was beautiful,
he says with a wink.
20. Jason. Saturday, time 6:05 p.m. Summer is officially the first woman I've ever brought up here to my cabin, and she just fits here. An actual log cabin. She sighs happily before she goes off to look around, her hands smoothing over all the worn wood pieces of furniture I've built over the years as if they're works of art. Everything here is just gorgeous, Jason. All these details. The only gorgeous details I can see right now are the ones that I've been going crazy over for the past few months. Jesus, she's so fucking beautiful. And I mean that in every possible way. It's not just how goddamn pretty she is, but it's also all her quirks, her cute reactions to things, the way she looks at the world. Only Summer would comment that the smell of sawdust in the air makes her happy. Only Summer would crouch down on the floor and gently pat the rustic old wooden crate I used to hold firewood logs next to the fireplace, as if she were saying good boy to a pet. And only Summer would look underneath every single piece of furniture in here to see how they were put together. Every aspect is so unique, so perfect. I run my eyes over every inch of her. Couldn't agree more. After she finishes her tour and returns to my arms, she snuggles in and murmurs contentedly, "Oh my gosh, Jason, you really outdid yourself on the construction. If I lived here, I'd never leave." Okay. The sudden and unexpectedly overwhelming thought of her here with me permanently feels so fucking right that my arms immediately tighten around her a fraction more. She squeaks and I quickly loosen my hold, only to find she's simply reacting to finding something else to marvel over. She rushes over to the small tree slab table in the far corner of the room I just finished making earlier in the year. A new hobby. The size is a little weird for a coffee table, but I couldn't bring myself to cut down more of the tree trunk stump I used as the base. "Oh my gosh, Jason, this would make such a cute kids' table." And holy shit, all I can think about now is how she and I would make us some friggin' cute-as-hell kids. She practically skips back to me, all happiness and light. So ridiculously adorable. Really, it's a miracle I've waited a whole 10 minutes to do this. I pull her in for a deep, soul-reaching kiss, at the end of which I literally yank open the white button-down shirt she's wearing, feeling like a gratified caveman when I hear the buttons flying off and hitting the floor all around us. Can't say that I've ever actually torn the buttons off a woman's clothes before. With Summer, I'm thinking I may need to buy her a second wardrobe because I honestly don't think I'm going to be stopping anytime soon. She gasps, staring down at buttons scattered all over the floor. I can't believe you just did that," she whispers, her voice sounding breathless. "Been wanting to do that for months now," I rasp gruffly. Then, to semi-apologize for my actions, I flick open the front clasp of her bra and lean down to taste one pert, stiff nipple, alternating back and forth from one nipple to the other at a slow, easy pace I'm fucking surprised I can keep. When her perfect, berry-like nipples tighten to hard little points, I groan and start sucking on them like a starving man. My hands run over her slim frame, all muscle and tight lines, before I kiss my way down her smooth, toned belly. I slip her yoga pants down her legs and growl against her skin when I see she's wearing her cute-as-fuck fruit-of-the-day panties. Raspberries today. "You're soaking wet." I run the tip of my tongue against the little wet spot between her thighs, finding and rubbing her hard little clit through the fabric until the raspberries are nearly translucent from all her juices. My fucking cock is going to explode. It's pushing against my zipper so hard now, I need to undo my jeans to relieve the pressure. "Please," she whimpers as I start stroking my stiff shaft in time with my tongue on her pussy. "Please what?" I ask, wanting to hear her say it. Her cheeks go pink and her voice drops to a near whisper. "I want to feel you," she says in a tiny, heated voice. It's so fucking sexy to hear her tell me what she wants. "Where?" I stand back up so I can suck on her nipples again as I wrap her hand around my hard cock. "In your sexy little mouth or your pretty little pussy? Show me where you want me, baby." Shyly, she tugs the seam of her panties to the side and hops up on the dining table behind her, literally leading me to her by my dick. Damn, I love how much I've corrupted her already. I ease myself into her and do my best to enter her slowly, gently. This is all still new for her and she's still so fucking tight. But I'm only so strong. Her hot, slick pussy grips my cock like a tight fist, squeezing me tighter every time I push into her harder. I'm already balls deep inside of her, but I want to get deeper. I want more. I tug on her hair to expose her neck to me and she moans, tightening around the entire length of my shaft. Fuck. I suck on her neck, knowing full well that it's going to leave a mark. One she won't be able to hide with her work t-shirts, and that thought makes me fuck her harder. I want to brand her as mine. I want the fucking world to know that she's mine. Her muscles start clamping down on me, pulsing hard against my cock as the proclamation echoes in my brain. You're mine, Summer, I growl, feeling my cock grow harder and thicker just from hearing the words aloud. I press my thumb against her clit and let her feel the edge of my teeth against her nipple. Say it. Say this is mine. All of this. Your hard little nipples, this hot, tight pussy. Your brilliant mind, feisty spirit, kind heart. All of you. Mine. Say it. She doesn't look like she can even hear me. Her eyes are glazed over, nearly mindless with bliss. I reach down to hook her legs around my forearms, stretch her wider so I can thrust into her even deeper and at a new, better angle. She's going to come, I can feel it. But not before she says what I want to hear. I slow down and make her feel every stroke, the entire length of my cock moving inside her. Sucking hard first on one nipple, then the other, I fuck her G-spot until she's whimpering. I've marked your neck so every fucking guy on the worksite will know you're taken. I whisper harshly between strokes, feeling an uncomfortable streak of pure possessiveness rip through my veins at the thought of everyone fucking knowing she's mine. I'm going to come so deep inside of you that you'll still be dripping my cum out of you tomorrow. You're fucking mine, Summer. Now say it. If you want me to let you come, if you want to feel me come inside you, if you want me, I'm yours. She whispers against my jaw, and just like that, my hips shoot forward like a fucking cannon, plunging my cock into her so hard and rough, my own teeth are rattling. I fucking swear, one of these days I'll go slow. I'll make love to her slowly, but right now, I need her just like this. I need to make her come again in that earth-changing way she does. I need to come in her in that reality-defining way she makes me. Her whole body tightens in my arms as she studies me with those big blue eyes. I'm yours, she repeats, and I'm done. There's no going back. As spasms rip through her core and squeeze my cock, the entire fucking world starts to explode into pieces all around me. I'm yours too, baby. For once, I'm not so thrilled that my making her come on my cock makes her fall asleep on me.
21. Summer. Sunday. Time 10:55 a.m. Because guys think I'm weird. I tell Jason when he asks me why I haven't been out on more dates before while we prepare some sandwiches to take on a mini road trip out to the coastline. It's a Sunday brunch tradition I used to have with my granddad back in Washington all the time, one Jason has insisted on having us do for the past 2 weekends in a row.
Guys think you're weird?
He asks, looking genuinely puzzled by this. And that right there makes my heart just melt in my chest. Jason, you're the first guy who doesn't seem to notice how crazy I am.
Oh, I've noticed.
He grins.
I just happen to like every insane thing about you. I like that you're not afraid to just be you. That you're not afraid to show the world exactly what makes you so lovably insane.
While I love hearing the genuine respect and admiration in his tone, admittedly, it also makes me feel like a bit of a fraud.
What's the matter, sweetheart?
He frowns and tilts my face up to meet his probing gaze.
Did I say something wrong?
No. He said everything exactly right, which is exactly why it's time. Time to finally show him all the ugly skeletons in my closet. I take in a deep breath and say, I'm going to tell you something, and I'll understand completely if it changes things between us, but I hope it doesn't. He rubs both hands on my shoulders, his eyes concerned.
You can tell me anything, and I'm sure nothing you say will change how I feel about you.
Famous last words. Before I lose my nerve, I just blurted out, "My mom was an online prostitute." Actually, for all I know, that might not be a past tense statement, but I stick to the facts for now. He does a double take.
Okay.
Then, like a volcanic eruption, all the sordid details of my childhood come pouring out of my mouth. My mother couldn't ever hold a job down for too long. She never liked working. So when I was a kid, my granddad used to have to cover a lot of bills for us. Except for my 5th grade year, when we were apparently living in an apartment that some skeezy rich guy was paying for, along with an allowance for her. That part wasn't illegal, but it was gross. The only reason why I'm mentioning it now is to explain why I'd wanted to move out of the loft. With the internet nowadays, it's entirely plausible that someone would find out about the arrangement and draw some similarities. I actually still worry about that every day. Really, the only reason I haven't moved out of the loft yet is because I have a strong suspicion Jason has alerted his security to stop me if I try. God, I hope I don't lose him over all this. Just talking about my past out loud is making all the shame, all the disappointment come rushing back, but I shove the feeling back down and keep going. After that, she sort of graduated to the majors, I guess. When I was in middle school, seems someone told her about this singles ad site online that she could go on. It was a legit dating site with different local networks, but if she used certain exact words in her ads, it was code for a potential John to know that they'd arrange a date and she'd basically screw him for money. I can't meet Jason's eyes. If he's even half as repulsed as I am listening to my family history, I'll be able to see it. And it'll shatter me. She did that for years. I continue. We managed to pay all our bills, and for a while I fooled myself about how she never went to a day job but always had money. But that all ended my sophomore year, when she got caught, and ended up having to do a short stint in jail for online solicitation. That's actually how I came to live full-time with my granddad. I still remember how the whole thing got splashed all over the local news. For weeks, it was all anyone could talk about since there were so many folks throughout the state involved. It was kind of a big sex worker sting, and since we were living in a small town then, everyone knew. The newscasters kept highlighting local resident Cindy Davis over and over again whenever they reported on it, like they're having that small local link to the big national story made it everyone's business. It was humiliating. I risk looking up at him then to see how he's taking all this. He looks livid.
Where is she now?
He asks tightly. Damn it. I know I should have told him all this sooner. With him being a billionaire, I know as well as he does that every detail of his personal life and the personal lives of those he chooses to associate with doesn't just become hot gossip. It sometimes becomes news. He backs up a step from me, and I feel my heart start to break. But I give him the answer he absolutely deserves. When she got out of jail shortly after, she didn't even bother to try and regain custody of me. Not that Granddad would have given it to her if she'd tried. He told me that she simply took off without a word and ended up in Reno. Found a rich guy to shack up with. So, in a way, her getting arrested got her everything she'd been wanting. No daughter annoying her every day, and a successful man taking care of her so she never had to work.
Do you still talk to her?
She started calling me after Granddad died since the lawyers had contacted her about his estate. He was a good man. Despite everything, he made sure to put some money aside for her in a trust that I currently manage. It wasn't much, so she didn't go overboard on trying to talk to me, but there was enough to make her interested in getting in touch. After all the legal paperwork for the money, mine and hers was done, though, her calls stopped, and I haven't heard from her since.
Good. Lose her number.
The throbbing anger in his voice is deceptively quiet, almost undetectable, but I hear it. I shoot my gaze back up to meet his.
We can have my lawyers handle her trust from now on so you don't ever have to speak to the woman again.
He's flexing his hands, as if he's picturing wringing her neck.
Fuck, if I had the power to, I'd get her thrown back in jail for the rest of her life for hurting you like that.
He comes back over to me and grips my shoulders tightly.
I promise. I'll make sure she never steps foot in your life again. Hell, I'll get my lawyers to make it illegal for her to even come within 100 miles of your life again.
I feel the tears running down my cheeks, but I can't fully explain why exactly I'm crying. It just feels like a whole mess of emotions are pouring out of my eyes, like a deluge of damage, a flood of hurt, anger, and 1,000 other feelings I've spent most of my life bottling up and ignoring. I'm also crying out of relief, I realize. So, this isn't over, I ask, hoping beyond hope. With you and me, I mean. A genuinely pissed-off frown slashes across his features.
Why the hell would this change anything between us?
Because you're a billionaire. We both know that gossip is more popular than actual facts about rich and famous folks. You won't just be Jason Steele, young billionaire and philanthropist anymore. You'll be Jason Steele, dating the daughter of a convicted hooker.
I don't give one shit about gossip.
You may not, but your investors and board might.
As far as my board goes, I make a point not to hire folks who are idiots. So I don't think I need to worry there. And as far as investors, if they have a problem with you, I just won't work with them. Simple as that,
his tone seems to say. Jason, I can't ask you to take that sort of risk.
It's not a risk,
he says tersely.
You're right. This may become gossip, and a few folks I do business with may care because image means more to some than others. But if you ask me, if the worst gossip about me is that I'm dating a smart, talented, successful woman who overcame a terrible childhood, then really, I'm pretty much winning at life.
Lordy, this man.
Summer, I don't care about your past. All I care about is you and how good we are together. I don't know why other men think you're weird, but to be perfectly honest, I'm fucking ecstatic that they do, because it kept some other guy from laying claim on you before I could.
He tugs me into his arms.
You're an incredible woman, Summer. Yes, you're neurotic, but I find it adorable. And yes, you have a fucked up mom, but I think the fact that you do just shows how resilient you are and how hard you've worked for everything you've achieved.
His lips come crashing down onto mine, and he then proceeds to kiss me until I have very little oxygen left in my lungs.
Don't talk about things changing between us anymore because it's seriously going to make me lose my shit. You and I are good, solid, fucking perfect, okay?
Okay, I whisper, my heart just about bursting out of my chest.
Now, I know we have brunch plans, but we're going to have to make it lunch plans because I need to make you fucking come on my cock a few times to work all this out of my system. Sound okay to you?
Sounds perfect. 22. Summer. Monday. Time 7:06 a.m. Jason and I have a meeting with the architect in 10 minutes. But thanks to a big accident on the highway, seems like every worker on site is running late and clogging up the main roads up here. Finally at the job site, I jump out of my truck and run straight over to the trailer for the blueprints we need to discuss, only to stop midway when I smell alcohol in the air. Frowning, I scan the few guys filing out of their cars parked next to me to find the source. Tom. One of our newest men on the project, and the bane of my existence for the past few weeks. The union had sent him over along with a dozen more laborers as our needs increased, and while the rest of the guys have proven themselves to be strong, capable workers, Tom has been just awful, lazy, snarky, with a huge chip on his shoulder, and, as we discovered at the end of last week, apparently stupid enough to come to work stinking of alcohol from the night before. Hey, Tom, can I help you with something? He gives me a sullen look and doesn't bother with any pleasantries.
Jason called me yesterday to let me go. I'm just here to pick up my last paycheck.
This is news to me. Good news, but surprising nonetheless. I'd planned on letting him go today, but a part of me is glad Jason took care of it. Tom always had a menacing quality about him that gave me the willies. Jason and I are going to be in a meeting for the next hour or so, but I'll tell him you stopped by. We usually mail the final check, but if you want to pick it up in person, we'll call you to tell you when your check is ready. I give him a courteous smile and move to go around him to get up to the trailer. But he stops me.
Don't walk away from me. We're not done talking.
I sigh at his antagonistic tone. I hate it when they don't go quietly. Oh? I ask politely. Was there something else you wanted to discuss?
Yeah,
he snarls, swaying on his feet, making it obvious that the alcohol in his system today isn't from the night before.
I want to discuss the fact that you're nothing more than the boss's annoying fuck slut who has no business running this crew.
I feel the blood draining from my face. I've fired a good number of guys in my day, but this is the first time any of them has spoken to me like this. Tom sneers, his bloodshot eyes filled with ugly, drunken anger.
That's right. I know all about you, too. I saw you guys going at it in the trailer the other day. Guess the rumors about you are true.
Get the hell off my job site. Now.
Don't talk all high and mighty with me. You're just a glorified whore, the worst kind of slut. And your boyfriend's a pampered asshole who's going to use you and lose you any day now.
You have 3 seconds to leave, Tom. He doesn't budge. Instead, he turns and shouts out loudly over his shoulder, "Stop talking to me like you're the boss of me. We both know you only got the job because you're fucking Jason, milking the big-time billionaire for the big-time bucks." I do my best not to let him see any of this is affecting me. Time's up. I'm calling security. I pull out my phone.
"Fuck you, bitch!"
He tries to grab it from me.
"What the hell's going on here?"
Jack, my main foreman, trudges over with a few of my men, all of whom look ready to punch out Tom without an explanation. Tom scowls when 2 of my oldest workers edge their way between us.
"What, are you two fucking her too?" "I bet you are. She looks like she's into all that kinky group shit."
My guys don't say a word. They just keep standing there like 2 giant human shields, arms crossed, expressions pissed but patient. I call security. When Tom hears me say that I want him escorted off the property because he's drunk and being belligerent, he goes back to yelling out to the growing crowd,
"Don't you guys even care that this cunt is fucking her way to the top right past us? The rest of us, we have to actually work our asses off. All she has to do is spread her slutty-ass legs, and she gets the big bucks while treating the rest of us like shit." "You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, man,"
calls out Pete, one of my newer guys.
"She's one of the hardest working ones on this entire job site, and she's been a fair boss the entire time."
Tom scoffs.
"If you call getting fingered by Jason in the trailer work, then sure."
I hate that this is getting to me. Doing my best not to let my embarrassment show on my face, I calmly walk around my 2 loyal human shields and head to the trailer. I'm not going to engage. I am not going to engage. I just keep chanting that to myself as I pass Tom. Security's on the way, and I still have a meeting to get to. Nothing good will come from letting him have a continued platform, so it's time to nip this in the bud. "Okay, show's over," I call out. "Everyone get back to work." No one budges. Though I appreciate that they're feeling protective over me, I'm not used to my guys not listening to me. I mean it. We're on the clock. If no one's here to listen to him, he'll eventually have to leave. So come on, back to work, now. Granddad made me practice my outside voice for years. I don't always use it, but I'm sure as heck using it now. Somewhere in between a bark and a bellow, it effectively tells my guys that I mean business. Half of the workers start walking back over to their posts. Thank God. As for me, I keep walking toward the trailer to get the blueprints I need. I hear him call me bitch and a few other choice words, but I simply ignore him. The longer I ignore him, the more pissed he gets, until eventually the dumbass comes rushing at me.
23. Jason. Monday. Time? Too fucking pissed to know. I'm going to kill the motherfucker. I don't know what exactly happened before I showed up at the trailer looking for Summer, but all I know is Tom just shoved my fucking woman, and knocked her down. He's a fucking dead man. But before I can get over there and slaughter the man in cold blood, I see Summer get up, give him a brief "you fucking idiot" look, and then ram the heel of her palm into his face. Tom screams out in pain as blood starts gushing out of his nose. God, I love this woman. "I'll sue you, you dumb bitch," Tom cries out before turning to face me. "And I'm going to sue your ass, too." The crowd of workers part for me as I go over to check on Summer. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" She shakes her head. "I'm fine, I swear, Jason. I tried to walk away, but he came at me. He touched me first." "I know. I saw him. Just like every other guy here did. You're totally in the right here, baby." "No, she's not." Tom spits out a mouthful of blood in Summer's direction, and it takes everything in me not to fucking beat the dumb shit to a pulp. "Did you call security already?" I ask her while keeping one eye on Tom. "They're on their way." I turn back to Tom. "You can go ahead and try to sue me, but I'll countersue. You're trespassing after your termination. You just assaulted my project manager, forcing her to defend herself, and quite frankly, you're just wasting me a fuck ton of money on a Monday." When he spits at me this time, I take a step forward to close the distance between us. The fucking guy is going to learn some goddamn manners. Summer shoots forward to stop me. "Don't engage, Jason. I've been recording the whole thing." She points at her cell phone in her pocket, the blinking red camera pointing right at Tom. "He's got nothing. After I send this video to my lawyer, I'm also going to send it to the union. He's done. Finished. A piece of shit like him has no business in our profession, and I'm going to make sure of it." Damn it, she's incredible. Finally, security shows up to haul Tom away, but he doesn't go quietly. While they're restraining him and dragging him over to their vehicle, he starts shouting at the top of his lungs, "I don't care what you say, I'm going to sue. That slut created a hostile work environment here. She plays favorites with the guys, picking which ones she wants to go out drinking with while treating the rest of us like crap." What the actual fuck? That's not true, she sputters. "I just hang out with the guys I know well." "You mean the guys you're fucking?" sneers Tom. "Everyone knows your reputation. The guys who kiss your ass and put up with your weird shit are the ones who get to stick around, but for the guys like me who won't lower ourselves like that, you ride our asses on sight every day. A lot of guys in the union that you've let go will back me. You're going down, you skanky cunt." For the first time ever, that confused look on her face makes me enraged. And apparently I'm not the only one. Though Tom is already well out of earshot and currently getting driven off the lot by security, Summer's foreman still steps forward to defend her honor. To me. "Tom's a dumb drunk who doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Every guy she sent back to the union over the years deserved it. I can verify that." "Me too," says Mikey, another veteran worker of hers. "She actually had to let me go once last year for screwing up so much," chimes in a young college-looking kid I've seen do some good work. "And she told me exactly what I needed to improve on. She stayed after work to show me a few things before letting me go, and told me she was going to tell the union that I just needed a little more training and hours in certain areas, but that I'd be welcome to come back afterward." Seems I was worried for nothing. Her men here would clearly go to war for her, and that's the only real reputation worth protecting in my opinion. "Look, guys," I say, "you don't need to convince me. I'm on her side here." Summer comes up beside me to look at all her men. "Since Tom has just made my personal life your business, I want to clarify something," she tells them. "Jason and I are, in fact, seeing each other. It's a recent development, and it's not going to affect the project in any way, shape, or form. I just want to be clear on that." The silence following her announcement lasts exactly 1 second, before all the guys start talking at once. Jesus, took you too long enough, hollers out Jack. About damn time, adds Mikey. A few dozen more similar comments echo around, and Summer stares at all of them in shock. You guys were expecting us to get together? I'm mildly insulted that she sounds so surprised. We're perfect for each other. We were hoping at least, clarifies Jack. You're good for him. You make him way less ornery, borderline friendly. Bruce, one of the workers who was with the project before Summer took over, also puts in his 2 cents. The poor guy has clearly been in love with you from the start. We all saw it. The guys all nod their agreement. Well, hell, this is a surprise. Guess I didn't do as good a job at hiding my feelings as I thought. Plus, adds Mikey, you guys are a really good match. You both have a weird thing for trees. Yeah, calls out an unknown voice in the crowd. I noticed that too. All last week she's been collecting old tree stumps and trunk slabs from around the mountains and throwing it in her truck, just like Jason does. I look at her. Is that so? You been hauling wood? I saw the craftsmanship you put into your pieces at the cabin, she says. I could tell you really enjoyed building them, so I just wanted to find some good pieces for you to work with. That's it. No more talking. I turn, pick her up, and throw her over my shoulder. Speech over, I call out to all the guys. Get back to work. Jack, you're in charge. Let the architect know when he gets here that I'll reschedule our meeting for this afternoon or whenever he has time this week. Summer and I are taking the morning off to discuss a few things. I know this isn't all classically romantic. It's damn near primitive, but this is the only way I know how to show how fucking much this woman means to me. Fortunately, the guys get it. They hoot and holler and cheer as I carry her off to my truck. When we get there, I put Summer down to study her reaction. She's smiling. Thank fuck. So, cabin or penthouse? She asks as she plucks my keys from my pocket. An admittedly tight extraction given the current fit of my jeans. Because I think you know my vote. I take it you're driving? It'll get us there faster. Going up on her tiptoes, she gives me a shy, sexy kiss. But, she adds graciously, her cheeks warming to a fucking adorable shade of pink, I'll let you drive, so to speak, once we get there. Christ, I am never going to get enough of this woman. Drive, I tell her. We get to the cabin in record time, and as soon as we get out of the truck, she looks over at me and says out of the blue, Okay, maybe I'm not exactly like one of the guys, surprising a smile out of me. Seriously, I just never know what's going to come out of those pretty little lips of hers, and I fucking love that. I want to keep getting surprised by her unique take on things. I want her to keep showing me all the quirky, interesting, cutely insane things about her that make her Summer. I can't throw you over my shoulder to make a big romantic gesture, she says thoughtfully, seemingly genuinely put out by the observation. But I would if I could. I pull her into my arms. Is that your way of telling me that you kind of, sort of like me too? She smiles and says softly, Yes. Epilogue. Jason. 10 months later. Friday. Time 11:49 p.m. I hear a loud, turbulent knocking on my door, and it's just the best fucking sound ever. The guys took Summer out tonight to celebrate the end of the project. They invited me, of course, but I wanted her to have her time with her crew. Plus, I had preparations to make. I checked my watch. The guys held true to their word and made sure to have her back to me by midnight. Perfect timing. I take one final look around the penthouse to make sure I didn't miss any details. It occurs to me then how little I miss this place. About 6 months ago, I finally convinced Summer to pack an overnight bag and stay with me at the cabin, since it's so close to the job site. Since then, we've spent most of our time up there, only returning here to the city a few times a week whenever one of us has a meeting in town. Frankly, I hate coming back here, mostly because Summer insists on going to her place to give me space while she does laundry and whatever it is she does when she's away from me. I don't like it one bit. The penthouse feels like a fucking lonely-ass prison without her in it. So I decided I'm going to do something about that. Tonight. That said, I do admit taking my time as I walk over to the door. I'm going to miss that knock. Have fun with the guys tonight? I ask as I open the door with a big smile. A neon pink paper held up to my face is her silent, befuddled reply. Grinning, I yank her inside before she gives my security folks a fun show. I manage to sneak in a quick kiss while she's gaping at me, but she cuts it short and moves right on to the main festivities. An eviction notice? Seriously, Jason? I thought it was a prank until I realized my key no longer worked on the door. Here. I hand her a key. She eyes it. Is this the key to the new apartment lock? I frown. Crazy woman. Of course not. You saw the sign. You've been evicted. She looks down at the key in utter bewilderment. Then what in the world does this open? Actually, I'm not sure, I confess. Probably an old gym locker. I found it in one of my drawers. It's more a visual effect. I've heard this is the sort of thing that accompanies the gesture. What gesture? The one where I ask you to move in with me? I reply matter-of-factly. Her jaw drops. Since the penthouse door opens with fingerprint and key code access, I thought this old key would be more romantic than a slip of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. She's still not talking. That's okay. I'm a patient guy. She looks from the key to the eviction notice. You're certifiable, you know that, right? I chuckle and tug her closer. Takes one to know one. So let me get this straight. Instead of actually asking me to move in with you, you went and changed the locks to my loft while I was out with the guys? Actually, I changed your locks on Tuesday. A look of understanding filters across her features. So that's why you wanted to stay at the cabin all week? And why you insisted I just go straight to the bar in my work clothes? I shrug, thoroughly unapologetic about my methods. I was being romantic, damn it. I also took the liberty of hiring new movers this week. Only the best, of course. Her lips twitch, but she holds on to her confounded glare. That was presumptuous of you? What if my answer is no? I drag off my shirt and pick her up by the waist, pleased as fuck when she automatically wraps her legs around me as I walk us over to the master bedroom. I considered the possibility of you saying no. Knowing you, there was a 50-50 chance you were going to throw the key at my head and kick me in the balls. Her body shakes with laughter in my arms. So this was a high-risk move, then? I stop smiling and speak from the heart. This is the biggest risk I've ever taken. It's also the only one I've ever been 100% sure of. I cup her cheek. The only one I've ever been unwilling to walk away from. Her breath catches and a tremulous smile touches her lips. I carry her over to the master closet to show her my other attempt at a romantic gesture. She looks around the closet and gives me that cute, confused look I adore. When did you get so many white button-down shirts? An entire row plus some spares in the drawers as well. Those are yours, I say simply. I give her a second to realize I meant that literally for the ones hanging directly behind her. You moved all my clothes in here already? She's still fighting back a smile, but her voice does sound a tiny bit provoked. I attempt to mimic her cute and confused look. I told you I hired the movers. Jason, she growls. Ah, hell, just like that, I'm fully hard. My name on her feisty lips always gets me there in no time flat. Quit turning me on, woman, I'm trying to be romantic here. She surveys her half of the closet, shaking her head in reluctant amusement. It's official. You are definitely crazier than I am. Not crazy, proactive, I argue. That's also why I got you all the extra shirts. I figure with you living with me full-time, I'm going to tear the buttons off at least this many of your sleep shirts. The laugh she's been suppressing finally breaks through. That actually makes sense, she says as she roams around the closet to take inventory of how thorough the movers were. They were very thorough. Her old apartment is now completely vacant. After one full lap, she turns to face me. Since all my clothes are here, she trails off before slowly taking off every inch of clothing she's wearing. I immediately forget what we're talking about. She pulls one of the new shirts off the hanger and slips it on. While I'm not loving that she's no longer naked, my cock is practically leaking with pre-cum from the look she's giving me as she buttons the shirt and starts backing out of the closet. I lose the rest of my clothes and somehow manage to find my brain function again when those sexy little tits and sweet pussy of hers are covered up. Is this you saying yes to moving in? Not sure yet. She draws out as she taps a finger on her chin and then trails it down the front of her now fully buttoned-up shirt. Maddening little temptress. On one hand, I'm going to miss having you as my landlord, she says thoughtfully. I practically roll my eyes at that. Please, I did nothing as your landlord. You never once called me to fix something in your loft. Not just because I made damn sure her place was perfect before she moved in, but because she's actually handier at interior fixtures than I am, what with all her residential construction experience. We both know your neighbors call on you more than the super to fix things. Really, she's the best tenant I've ever had. She tilts her head to the side. It's just a lot of change. There's a ring of truth to that, I can hear it. Thankfully, she doesn't sound sad, just reflective. I'll be losing you as a boss and a landlord all in the same week. But you like your new boss, I reason, not entirely cheerfully. While I'm thrilled that my buddy Logan went behind my back to hire Summer to handle the $1 million expansion of his rock climbing gym, I'm jealous as hell of the idea of them spending so much time together in the coming months. Though I hate to admit it, Logan's a good-looking son of a bitch. Plus, he has a cute-as-hell daughter. For most women we meet, Logan having a kid and the fact that I have $1 billion or $2 more in my bank than he does would be a deterrent. But for a sweetheart like Summer, who doesn't have a materialistic, non-maternal bone in her body, Logan would be a compatible catch. He's less ornery than me, and he has more experience with the romance stuff, seeing as how he was the picture-perfect husband to his high school sweetheart until the day she passed away. Even more reason to get the woman to move the hell in with me. Then afterward, we can start on making some cute kids of our own. One thing at a time, Steele. You're right, she concedes. I do like my new boss very much, but I loved my old boss. I'm going to miss working for him. Love, present tense, not loved, I correct, feeling my heart kick around my chest at the thought. Hearing her say she loves me just never gets old. And I'm going to miss you working for me too, sweetheart. I pull her into my arms. That's why I evicted you. Figured I'd give myself a new role in your life. One with a little more permanence. I guess roommate would be a nice upgrade from crazy landlord, she teases, messing with me even more by toying with the hem of her sleep shirt and flashing me that pretty little pussy. I growl at the sight and reply without thinking, Fiancé, not roommate. She stills. What? I see her nipples harden to distractingly sexy peaks under the thin fabric, and I just plain lose it. In one fluid motion, I rip her new shirt open, practically howling at the moon over the satisfying ping of buttons hitting the floor as I lift her up and sink her down onto my waiting cock. So goddamn perfect. Every time. It's not until I'm fully seated in her warm, slick pussy that my brain starts to unmuddle. And then it hits me. Damn it. I start mentally kicking my dumb ass for not having more self-control. I'm so sorry, Summer, I botched this up. I had a whole thing planned tonight. She wraps her arms around me and gives me a deep, sexy kiss. By the end of it, every muscle in my body is locked up, and she's sucking the sanity out of me by pulsing her tight little pussy around my shaft. It's taking all the strength I possess not to move around too much and accidentally come inside her. Because really, at this point, it wouldn't take a whole lot. You planned on proposing to me tonight? She sounds pleased, thank hell. Well, more like tomorrow morning. I was going to be all romantic and propose to you by waking you up at 3. She melts against me, and I take that as my cue to start making this botched proposal up to her. Slowly. Very slowly. In fact, I keep making it up to her for hours. Clear until 3 a.m. Best laid plans and all. On the bright side, clearly, I must be getting a little better at this romance stuff. Because she says yes. A bunch of times.
This recording of Bare Ass in Love was presented by Dreamscape Media, LLC. Text copyright 2017 by Sasha Burke. Sound recording copyright 2018 Dreamscape Media, LLC. Thank you for listening. Please check www.dreamscapeab.com for Dreamscape's latest releases.